Hello and welcome back to the Rosebreak podcast. Today I'm joined by Josh Palmer. Josh is one of the more recognizable voices from the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu scene. He is a commentator on a lot of shows, including the UK's biggest show, Polaris. He also commentates at Cage Warriors and other grappling shows like Kasai and MMA shows all around the world. So you've probably heard Josh, even if you don't know you have. I've known Josh for a really long time. It was great to finally get to sit down and chat to him. We talk about his job as a commentator and how and an announcer and how he got into all of that, and talk about stuff like Polaris, Cage Warriors, and some of the behind the scenes stuff. But I've known Josh for a long time, but wanted to chat to him for ages. Really enjoyed doing it, and I hope you guys enjoy listening. Check it out. Do you have like a warm up thing that you do before you get on the mic?
No. Nothing whatsoever.
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, nothing
no,
like that?
Actually, do you know what? I probably get a decent warm-up because when I have to do a live opening piece to camera, I've gone through it probably 50 to 60 times in my head or out loud. So that's probably what warms me up ready for it.
Do you do a lot of practicing in front of the mirror?
None in front of the mirror. No.
I guess it's not about how you look, really. It's about how you sound.
I have a face for radio, so I just try and wear slightly better suits every time, which a lot of commentators don't do, and they really should.
Man, can we start off by you just giving me some tips on broadcasting? Just some broadcast. How long have you been doing this for now?
8 years, 9 years, 9 years.
Well, I want to talk to you about how you get into it, but first hit me up with what's some tips? You're a pro. This is what you do full time, right?
No, not even close.
Oh, is it not?
It's like my fourth job.
Really? What else do you do?
Yeah. So look, by trade, I'm an architect.
Is it?
Yeah. I spent 7 years training as an architect in the UK, and I worked for about a little bit over a decade in architecture before I moved to the US. And I had planned to give architecture up completely, because I was just ready to do something totally different in my life. And I got to the last day, gave my boss 3 months notice, as I was legally obligated to do, and got to the last day.
3 months?
3 months. I was contracted. I'm good at my job, man. No. It was just the arrangement we had was if he was ever going to get rid of me, he had to give me 3 months notice, and he expected 3 months back the other way. And I was happy to do that because, it was a good office environment to work in. Got to my last day, and he said, you know what, can you keep working for us remotely essentially as a self-employed consultant? But
this was when you were moving to America.
This was when I was moving to America. So yeah, now I basically get up at 6 a.m. and I start work at 6:30 in my pajamas at my desk working remotely for a UK company.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then I still have some rental property, and I run a side of one of the martial arts clothing businesses here in the US, and then the grappling commentary and MMA commentary. So it's a nice side gig, but it's not what I do full time. I wish it was. It'd be interesting if it could someday be that.
Is that viable?
No. Certainly not. No. I mean, look, it's
like I love it. It's this. That's the dream. Is the dream possible? No.
No, I mean, look. So it's not to say it can't happen, but the reality is there are very few entities that exist within combat sports broadcasting at the moment
that pay enough.
Yeah, and that could sustain you with any employment certainty. I mean, everybody does other stuff, but the best, like John Gooden, who does the UFC broadcast for Europe now, they're doing Hamburg this weekend. John and I did 25, 30 Cage Warriors shows together. And then, he was ready to duck out of it and got the call up to go do the UFC, which is what he always wanted to do. And that's now what he does full time. Great for him. But there's very few other people who get to do that step up without, I suppose, being a professional broadcaster beforehand.
Is that what it was, or?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. It's just like me, just do it for fun at the weekends because you happen to be perhaps a bit more articulate or a bit better at just sussing out what's going on quickly and managing the multiple kind of thought processes that have to go with a broadcast. So
yeah. So okay, so give me
some broadcasting tips.
Yeah, give me some broadcasting tips.
Okay. Let me see. So it entirely depends on what role you're going to be doing in a broadcast, right? You and
we've done a bit of
commentary. We have. You and I have called at least one show together.
Yeah, we called Tough.
Yes, we did. Yeah. So on that show, you were doing colour and I was doing play-by-play.
Yeah.
Right? And generally the role of play-by-play is I set the colour guy up with comments and questions, because a lot of the time the viewer may not know entirely what they're watching. And I know what's going on. Obviously I do. But it's no skin off my nose to say, hey, Dan, what's he got to do to get out of this guillotine here? And then you can fill them in. The more you build a rapport with somebody, you don't necessarily need to do that but it helps. So the biggest thing is kind of just knowing. No, actually, no. Let's scratch that. I was going to go a totally different direction.
Okay.
Knowing that the action is going to move on, and the action is going to move on quickly, and not committing too much to a certain point where you ramble about it, like I am doing now.
Okay.
But like, so let's say you snap someone down, you start guillotining them. I can go into some whole long diatribe that's going to make me sound awesome about what you've got to do to finish mechanically or what they've got to do to escape. But chances are, by the time I've clicked my fingers, you're in a totally different position. Sure. The scramble's moved on. You know, less so in grappling, more so in MMA. So have an appreciation that the action's going to move on and don't get glued to stuff. And then I think my biggest pet peeve with other commentators is when they just recite what's going on. Moves to mount, takes the guillotine, looks to turn him over. Now we're in back control with hooks. Yeah, he's got the arm under the neck. It's like, okay, cool, but what are his options? What can he do? What can't he do?
Yeah,
what's the pace of the match?
It's like, it's not like when you're listening to football over the radio and you're not watching it and you have that you want to hear a literal play-by-play of what's going on.
Exactly.
The person who's listening to the commentary is going to be watching the fight at the same time.
Yes. Yeah.
So the very obvious stuff is very obvious. You don't need to kind of talk about what's happening. Yeah.
Well, actually, that's yes and no. So one of the things I've changed a little bit as there's been a wider audience for the shows that I commentate now is I am more descriptive and I am more focused on fundamentals. Now, back when I started doing a lot of MMA commentary, and particularly when I started doing Cage Warriors, you knew the broadcast range wasn't that good, so you knew the people who were watching it were mostly hardcore fans, who therefore probably trained, more than likely trained, and know what's going on to a certain extent. So you don't need to be like, oh, well, this is a Kimura, it's a shoulder lock that isolates this, and he's looking to create this. You know, you didn't need to do that. Now that you're very aware that people watch it casually and necessarily don't train, you need to be more descriptive, and I think I am now as a result. But that's just something I've changed personally over the years of the brand's growing. Yeah,
so one of the really interesting things, obviously you commentate on Cage Warriors, and the interesting thing that a lot of these shows are doing now is they're sort of finding traction over Facebook and social media.
Yep.
Going through like a Lad Bible or...
Yeah, Sport Bible is the prelims for Cage Warriors a lot of the time. And the viewing numbers when that happens...
Oh, they're ridiculous.
They're insane. We hit up to like 1 million, I think, on one of them.
Yeah, it's insane.
Which is great, but... You know, again, the more there's more broadcast outlets become available, I think Fight Pass is great. You know?
Yeah, Fight Pass is good.
Because people just stumble. And they just signed Karate Combat as well to Fight Pass.
What is that? I've never heard of that.
It's just a reimagination of striking disciplines, basically, and it takes place in like a sunken kind of pit.
They tried to do that on one of their MMA shows.
That was Yama pit fighting. Yeah. That was amazing, because all it did was make everybody easier to take down and hold down, because they couldn't stand up easily because they had no base against this sloped fence. So
they were trying to take away the whole cage fighting thing.
Yeah,
like that literal like fighting off the wall.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I remember they had like a bowl. Yeah. Didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, screw that. Stick with it. It's not broke. Don't fix it.
Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not a fan of a lot of the niche sports the variations that pop up.
Although I fucking love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I said, why not?
Why did you not compete in X-Arm?
Man, if they gave me the call, I would have competed in X-Arm. Yeah, you know what? I think fuck it. I'm always. I don't think there's ever going to be something like. So many people have tried different things.
Yeah.
In everything, and there's never been one where everyone's gone, "This works so well, we should make this standard now."
That's true. Yeah.
But then saying that, if you look at something like Quintet was hugely successful, very out of the box, and after that. Even though no one's really done it yet, everyone's looking to run a quintet style tournament.
Oh, dude, I'm already on it. Don't worry. Yeah. I had this mapped out like when they first announced the format for Quintet 1. So, yeah, there's plans in motion for where I live in the US. Don't worry. Yeah, slightly different, but similar principle. But I bloody love Quintet.
Yeah,
I think it's a great format. You know, production wise, they've obviously got some stuff to tighten up on, and there'll be, you know, I was sort of
go and elaborate on that.
No. I mean. You know, they haven't been doing it that long. I like that there's less downtime. There's going to be an issue with their format event. You know, when Polaris was last weekend, right?
Yes.
And we had, 4 draws on the main card, which none of them would...
It was all but...
No, Nicky Ryan, sub Phil Harris, and then Gregor got his shoulder smashed. Yeah. So the other 4 all went the distance, but none of them were dull fights, right? You and I enjoy them. I'm sure. But people like to moan, and they're like, oh, well, you know, you're not going to get submit. They somehow think if there's not a submission, it's not exciting.
Yeah.
Which is bullshit, right? For the most part.
Yeah.
And, you know, I sort of said this afterwards. The only way you really get submissions, more guaranteed submissions,
is by mismatches.
It's mismatches.
Yeah.
You either have, like, EBI originally had a lot of purple belts versus black belts. Of course, you're going to get some subs. Quintet has the weight disparity can possibly cause some mismatches, but that thing of bringing the time period down is quite an interesting way of negating it. But eventually, at some point, there will be a quintet show where every single fight goes the distance, and the entire event is decided on either those penalties or the judge's decision.
Did you watch the last quintet?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
I didn't watch all of it. I watched a few of the matches. There was a lot more draws, weren't there?
There were a fair few. Yeah. To be fair, I haven't watched your appearance on Quintet in full yet.
Oh, really?
No, it's one of those things. I get it queued up, and then I've got so much other stuff going on.
Mate, that's a good show.
I know.
That was a good show. There were almost no draws.
Oh, right. Okay. Nice.
There was a lot of submissions.
Which, if you're gonna showcase a new brand and stuff for the first show, that's what you want, right?
Well, like, I've never been to a show where you know they coached us beforehand to say, look, the whole point of the show is to get grappling out, you know, to new people, to introduce grappling, to make it exciting, make it a spectator sport. Mm-hmm. If you win, it's good, but it's more important to be entertaining.
Which we actually stole at Polaris this time.
Really?
Yeah. So after the weigh-ins at Polaris this time,
so Matt took that straight out of Quintet.
Right. I was asked to have when I was doing a rundown of like, hey, look, this is what's going to happen when you win. I'm going to stick a microphone in your face, which you may or may not be in the mood for, depending on how your bout went. But, you know, one of the other things I was asked to just highlight is, look, generally, the sport is not that entertaining. We've got to make it as entertaining as we can. So please just have some awareness that entertainment perspective is important.
Yeah. And, you know, even down to the fact that I think I can't remember who it was. I think I know Josh Barnett was involved in the first one. He wasn't at the second one, I know. And obviously Sakuraba was there and going through a translator. I can't remember who it was, but it was literally coming down to if you tap, tap dramatically.
That's brilliant.
It was literally like, you know, don't give a couple of pats.
No little like, meek submission.
If you tap, slam the ground or slap the. Yeah, did you watch Sakuraba get submitted in the last one?
Yes, I did.
Submitted by Boogeyman, which is not called Boogeyman. Don't submit Sakuraba. Did you not get the memo? But if you watch him tap, he does big.
Yeah, very obvious gesture.
It comes from that pro wrestling background.
Yeah,
it's not fake fights, but it's kind of if you need to do something,
you might as well accentuate it,
make it look bigger, make it look, you know, like that.
I enjoyed it. It's I'm looking forward to the next one. Yeah, they may tweak it a little bit, but I haven't really sat down and too much thought about what that could be. But for the most part, I've enjoyed the two that have been there so far. Yeah,
it's definitely, in my opinion, it's the most exciting format that they've got, for sure.
So are you a fan? I mean, obviously, you've been to EBI.
Yeah.
Are you a fan of the EBI setup?
Rules?
Yeah.
No.
The starting of the overtime the way it is. I mean, it's funny that...
No, because I got fucked.
Yeah, I did see that.
Did you watch my match?
Yeah, of course I did. I watched the whole thing. I watched all the EBIs.
Yeah.
And there's definitely a slight trend towards knowing that if it gets later on in the match, you might as well just stall for overtime now.
Yeah.
And I like that there were a couple of people who openly said that's what their game plan was. But, you know, I like that there's variation, and I like that there's lots of different rule sets. I don't think we're all going to agree on one that we think is good.
I agree.
So,
but that was the problem. For a little while, people were just like, EBI is the best form of grappling.
That's it, yeah.
And you're like, really?
Screw everything else.
Like, the problem that you're going to have is every single... like, you will find a way to play the game, no matter what the rules are.
Yep.
You know, you will find a way to play. Whether that's Polaris, you get your ass kicked, but you don't get submitted, so it was a draw. Then they bring in a decision, and when they first brought in the decision, was it still on that 3-round thing? When they first brought it in?
Yes, I want to say it was. Yeah.
So with the 3-round thing, you go, okay, well, I've won the first 10 minutes.
Yeah,
I can chill for the last 5.
Yeah, but I mean that can happen in MMA anyway.
Oh yeah, it can happen in MMA as well.
Round, you know.
It's kind of the whole pride scoring versus UFC scoring.
Absolutely, which is another whole aspect.
Yeah.
You know, there were a couple of matches at Polaris last weekend, certainly at least one, that would have possibly gone differently if you'd taken overall fight.
Yeah, it was Sam. It was Sam Cooke.
Was Sam's, right? And Sam lost.
She lost the first 2 rounds. I'd probably agree with, even though the kind of tide was starting to shift about halfway through the second round.
Yeah. Now, I tried to make a mental note when that happened because I was very audibly... this is something on this last broadcast I was much clearer on, was denoting for the viewers at home when the 5-minute periods were happening. Because it's not something I was particularly paying attention to before.
That's a good point.
Yeah, because you need it.
You know, the little rule thing comes up saying what the rules are. Nobody's fucking reading that.
Yeah, no.
That's the whole point of the commentators, that you need to be describing that stuff. You need to be making a note of what that is.
Now, one thing that's interesting is, and one thing I think I do a little bit differently from a lot of other commentators in MMA and grappling, is I'm never sy about saying who I think wins. In when it goes to a decision, there's that hyperbole, right? Of, well, I wouldn't want to be a judge for this one. You know, they're going to let this go to the judges, and I would not want to. You know, it's too close to call, and it's like, no, they're not always too close to call. No. You know, some are, some genuinely are.
There were some close matches on the last one. I thought the Ash Williams and Imanari fight was very, very close.
Yeah,
that was a split decision, wasn't it?
Yes,
yeah,
I think so. But they both busted each other's feet big time.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was brutal. There was one. There was a couple where I looked and I'm just like, this is how you know you're a pro athlete, because I can clearly see your foot is screwed. Yeah. You know, I just loved when Ash looked over at his coach and basically said, yeah, he's not bothered. Yeah. Like, I've got this locked in, I'm crunching, he's not bothered. Yeah. And then he switched to a toe hold and Imanari got worried, really worried. So, yeah, I'm very vocal about who I think wins a lot of the time. And touch wood, 99% of the time, the judges agree with me.
And this is talking in MMA and...
MMA and grappling, yeah. MMA is a little bit easier sometimes to call in terms of the decisions. But, I mean, I judged a lot of MMA fights before I ever did commentary, you know, which is, you know, a quirk of being in the UK. You have the advantage of no commission, no real regulation. You haven't got to fight through this old boys club or whatever to get your foot in the door, you know.
So what got you into it in the first place?
Which bit? Grappling, judging, amateur, you know.
The behind the mic side.
The behind the mic side. I had been running sort of the judges panels at a bunch of really crappy little local domestic shows for a couple of years, and basically just employing my mates to judge. And I basically just, the promoter would say, hey, can you hook us up with a couple of judges and we'll give you all X amount of money. And we'd show up, we'd get it in cash, we'd judge the fights and we'd go home. And I went to a domestic show called UWC, which I don't know if you know, it used to take place in Southend. Yeah. It's run by Dan and Alex Bizzotta. Uh-huh. And I went to a show as a fan because we had a guy competing on the undercard. And Pierre Guillet was doing the commentary at the time, and it was like one-man commentary. He didn't have anybody to commentate with.
What?
Yeah. But I mean, this is like UWC 7 or 8 or something like that. So like real early days. I mean, we are talking nine-ish years ago.
That must be awkward as hell.
I've done one-man commentary before, and it's not fun. It's not as fun.
I imagine not.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of commentaries, you bounce off each other, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But Pierre didn't have anybody to commentate with, and he came to say hello to us because, you know, we were at the time I was training as part of Tsunami Gym. Pierre was one of the founding members of Tsunami, as I'm sure Lee filled you in on his podcast. And actually, do you know who was making their MMA debut that night?
Go on.
Jude.
No way.
It was Jude's MMA debut. Yeah. And I said, I'm really excited to see what's going on in this co-main. Because,
man, how many fights did Jude have?
I don't know.
I thought you just had one.
Yeah, it probably was it.
I was there.
UWC in Southend. I think it was like Dale Hardiman or somebody he fought.
He like flying kneed him.
Yeah, I was there.
I was there.
Okay, well that was that event. That was where I first started doing commentary. So yeah, and I basically said, I'm looking forward to seeing this guy compete because he got won whatever medal at the Euros or whatever. And Pierre was like, oh, okay, you kind of know a bit about what you're talking about. So he basically went and said to the promoter, hey, can I come and get him to do some of them
on that show?
Yeah. And the idea was I was going to commentate most of it, and then Robbie Olivier was going to come in and commentate like the main 3 or 4 fights. And Robbie didn't in the end. He's like, oh, you look like you're having too much fun, and didn't feel like it. So I basically ended up doing that whole show, and that was enjoyable. So I emailed the promoter back and basically said, hey, I really enjoyed it, can I come and do it again? Right, yeah. Well, of course, if someone wants to do commentary for free, you might as well let them.
Yeah.
Right. And then a couple more shows went by. I started doing it for gas money. You can tell I'm getting American now for petrol money. Yeah. And so he'd throw me like 40 quid or 50 quid or something. and it just went from there. And I was very, very lucky that just openings and things fell where they may, so I was able to leverage it into bigger shows.
Yeah, because now you do the biggest shows in the UK.
Yeah. I'm now at the stage where I can. I mean, the reality is there still aren't actually that many shows that require the level of it makes me sound like a bit of a big-headed dickhead, but like...
Okay, so even if you talk about, like, completely objectively, like, the amount of experience that you have...
It's more than almost anyone else doing it.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Which is actually why... Like, obviously, I have a self-belief that I'm good at what I do.
Yeah.
But I'm aware that a good chunk of that is probably down to I just have more reps than anybody else.
Yeah, but that's part of what makes you good at doing something.
Of course, yeah.
That's like people legitimately say, like, oh, it's not fair. You've been training longer. I'm like, yep, that's what makes you better at jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, well, that's it. Is I just have more reps. I mean, you talk live broadcasts in either pay-per-view or Fight Pass formats or whatever. Well over 100 now, well over, and that's a lot of time. You know, when you think shows are 5-6 hours long and they involve pieces to camera, and I mean, we'll go into some of the details that people don't see behind the scenes later if you want. But
for sure.
But yeah, it started off doing that, and I was very lucky that. Alex Pizzotto was matchmaking for a show in Abu Dhabi at the time called the Abu Dhabi Fighting Championship.
Yeah.
And he basically said, I'm going to fly my commentators out. I was like, okay, I'll go get a free holiday for a week to Abu Dhabi and commentate an MMA show. It's unreal. And I did that, and I, got made being Abu Dhabi. I made more money than I ever had for commentary by a mile, and got a 3 weeks holiday in a 5-star resort in Abu Dhabi. And we did the event in the open air tennis arena.
Wow,
which is pretty cool. Bob Sapp fought Stav Crazy Bear Economou, so I got to meet and call a Bob Sapp fight.
That's awesome.
Which is pretty funny. Yeah, it's also it's the one screenshot I have that I can wind Mark Goddard up with, because Mark Goddard was refereeing, and when they brought up. They take a shot of the referee and they have a graphic at the bottom.
Yeah.
It says, it's a picture of Mark and it says referee Josh Palmer. So I still have that screenshot just because. But I remember that being, I was woefully, not underprepared presentation wise, but physically I was woefully underprepared for that show.
How so?
It was in an open air tennis arena in Abu Dhabi, and I'm in a suit, and it lasted 4 and a bit hours. And I got back to my hotel. And thank God the showers in these hotel rooms are like the size of this room, because I passed out.
Wow. I
got in the shower and I literally passed out. And it was just like heat stroke, and I wasn't drinking enough water, and like I was just physically completely unprepared for, I always feel bad saying, oh, I'm bloody knackered after that show, because you're around guys who've just kicked the crap out of each other.
Yeah, I know, but it's very different.
But I've also talked for 6 hours non-stop and had cues in my ears and
man, the brain uses up a lot of calories, and that's legit. Like the brain works hard. It's very draining on the body for sure.
Yeah. So that was a great show. I really enjoyed it. It was eye-opening for me, and then at the same time, actually the week before. Graham, who still runs Cage Warriors to this day, and this was for Cage Warriors 40, I had emailed him and basically said he was looking for a new commentator. He'd wanted to use Pierre. Pierre was away doing BAMA, conveniently, that day. So he said, hey, check out Josh. And I never heard back, so I chased it myself, which I've learned is something you should have no fear in doing whatsoever. So if you want something, bloody go email somebody about it.
That's a good lesson.
Yeah. And I chased Graham, and he got back and he said, do you have a show reel? And I'm like, well, no. But I just thought, you know what? No, I'm afraid I don't. But I'm looking forward to putting one together when I get back from commentating in Abu Dhabi next week.
Yeah.
Just to try and leverage this fact. It's like, hey, if people out there want to employ me to do something internationally, a show at Kentish Town in London should be fine.
Yeah.
And he said, okay. And then you got the awkward bit of, well, what's your rate? And you do that thing where you're like, I have no self-confidence in myself yet. Write a number down that,
that you don't think is going to be an insult.
Yeah, that you don't think anyone's going to blink twice at. And obviously he didn't. And then obviously I shoehorned myself into that for a good time afterwards.
Man, you should have just been like, in Abu Dhabi, they were paying me X amount of money.
Yeah, do you know what? That would have been good. I missed that one.
Yeah.
But
see, this is the thing, like when you're talking about like, I totally get that, and this is a thing that I'm sure loads of people have, and I'm sure it comes in all different, like every profession.
Yep.
But especially something that's not a real business, if you know what I mean.
Yes, I know exactly what you mean.
So I know people have the same problem when they're doing like if they want to teach private classes in jiu-jitsu, or to do seminars, or to teach classes, all of these things, people get very, very self-conscious about giving a price because they don't want to seem like they're basically being an arsehole by, you know, you get someone who comes in, they go, how much is a seminar? You go, seminar's £3,000. They go, you're a prick. You know?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Like legit, some people are just like that. So I think a lot of people get conscious about that. And there's a certain amount of it would go, look, this is just what it is. If you don't want to do that, then that's fine. But I think it helps if you go, well, I'm not even making this decision. This is what I got paid.
Yeah. No,
right?
no, you're absolutely... And very fortunately, with commentary, that's the stage I'm at now where I turn stuff down.
Yeah.
And, you know, I give people a number. And no, it doesn't happen that often. But the reality is that, you know, we said earlier, this is not my full-time job.
Sure. So
I'm at the number of weekends that I choose to take away from my family. And particularly because, bear in mind, most of what I do is international travel as well. Yeah. I'm at the number of shows I'm comfortable doing where anyone who wants me now, it's really got to be worth it.
Yeah.
Like, it really has to be. I still make concessions for odd opportunities. I had a couple pop up that just logistically didn't work out. It wasn't really a money issue, but, you know, where I made a few concessions on my rate and that kind of thing. But
how many shows a year do you do out of interest?
This year will probably be 20.
Okay.
Something like that.
It's quite a lot.
Yeah, I mean, Cage Warriors are going to be... Let me see. Polaris will be 3 this year. Kasai will be 3. Cage Warriors will be 10.
Wow.
12. But, like, what I don't do anymore... And I kind of wish I could occasionally, but what I don't do anymore are, like, the local level domestic shows where you don't do any prep. You show up, you sit on a mic. Like, Fight to Win is a great example of this, right? You literally can, like, show up, sit down, you don't have to do any pieces to camera, you just roll through the fights, you never, you know, and they're kind of fun, they're a bit different. The ones that
Who runs that?
Well, that's Seth at over in the US, and they're doing a really good job.
Yeah.
But they rotate rounds so much, and they fell into a little trap with their commentary, which I'll get onto in a minute, because that's another real irritant of mine. But yeah, anyway, that, you know, those shows are just different from what I do now. And what I do now does require preparation. It does, you know, you are going to be wearing a suit. You are going to be, you know, having production pre-event production meetings. You are going to be, you know, engaging in social media stuff to help boost it. You are going to be, you know, I do post-event feedback for nearly every event that I do. I say, look, this is what worked, this is what didn't work, this is what you need to fix. If from my opinion, you know, and I've done enough now where that's quite a playbook's worth of stuff. I mean, I'm pretty confident if I had to basically from scratch say, if there was a guy who was just like, here's the money, let's run a show, I could be like, right, you need to do this, all the way down to the professional broadcast side of it. You know, it's just one of those things. So it's just experience, and I'm very happy with where I've got to in doing it now. What's
the biggest show that you've worked on?
It'd be some of the Cage Warriors stuff. Cage Warriors, Polaris, Kasai are really like this one. I've got one in Manhattan in New York next month, and I think that's going to be, for live atmosphere, that's going to be pretty insane.
Yeah. How many people at the Cage Warrior events?
Completely varies. I don't know, a couple of thousand. I mean, the O2 holds 1,500 in the configuration. The O2 holds 1,500 when you have seating. Now, Cage Warriors sell it out with standing at the bottom, so it'd be more than that.
Okay.
Some of the shows we did in the Middle East, we had more than that because the arenas were bigger and the arrangements with how the tickets were sold were different and that kind of thing.
I did one big show once commentating. That was UFC.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah. How was it?
Yeah, it's fucking different, man.
It is, isn't it?
It's very different because beforehand I'd only done because like all the stuff you're talking about is reminding me of that.
Yeah.
All the stuff that I'd done before was like tough.
Yeah.
You just rock up, and I know.
You sat down, we took a selfie.
Yeah, I know almost everyone on the man.
Exactly.
I think the one that I did. I think when I did Tough with you, I'd like come out of hospital.
You had a sling on. You just had your
I'd come out of hospital that day.
Yeah.
And I was off my face on codeine.
That explains a lot.
I was completely out of it. I remember I was just like, man, I'm tripping. But yeah, so I've done a few toughs. I've done a few small MMA shows, and then I don't even know how it came about, but someone passed over my details, and I ended up getting this gig at UFC, and that was a super high budget event.
Right.
That was crazy.
They didn't last that long though, did they?
No, they did one show.
There you go.
They did one show because they just spunked all their money.
Yeah.
But man, it was in Finland. It was at the Espo Arena. It's where they had the ADCC.
Yeah.
It was funny actually because I didn't do the ADCC trials because I was commentating at the place where the final would have been. It's a little bit funny like that. But yeah, completely different.
Yeah.
The guy that I was working with was like, do you know Cyrus Fees?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does a lot of stuff in South Africa still.
He does a lot of stuff all over the world. Yeah. Like he's super busy. And I think he's full time with that.
Yeah.
I think he might be. He does a lot of stuff. He works like a motherfucker.
Well, he does a lot of ring announcing as well.
Yeah, he does both. It was with him. So lucky I had him who was a super professional, and I was kind of pretty fresh faced coming into that. But it's completely different from doing the tough. Like we sat down and you go through all the fighters. We had pieces of the camera.
Yeah.
We were doing live work. We were doing stuff.
The live stuff's
that's fucking hard.
It's different, man. It's different. I fluffed up one of my live pieces to camera at Polaris a little bit.
Yeah.
Not massively. But
was that after the event?
No, that was the actual opening piece to camera with Dan Hardy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I said, I was going through the bracket, and I have always been pretty big on not using notes.
Okay.
I use notes for live stuff now, just in case. And that was a lesson I got from Layla, who is a professional of the highest standard, who does the Cage Warriors lead presentations now. She's like, it's live TV, you're allowed to have notes. Like it's supposed to, which gave me a lot of confidence about having my iPad there in case I needed it. And I was going through the featherweight bracket, and I was like, oh yeah, we've got, Phil Harris versus Nicky Ryan and Mazakazu Amanari. And I'm like, I blanked on Ash Williams' name.
Shit.
And I literally went, and we've got, who's he fighting? Oh yeah, Ash Williams. And I literally said it like that.
Yeah.
Unbeknownst to me, Ash is watching backstage. He comes out for his match with Imanari, walks over to me because he happened to be on my side of
it.
I
hope you're going to do your best Welsh accent right now.
No, I can't. He's just like dickhead. And then he comes over and before he's about to fight Imanari, and he goes, when I win this, I'm going to go up to the mic and say, who the fuck are you? Mic drop. And when he won, I was like, oh God. Oh,
please
God.
Don't do that. Please don't
please,
do that.
Please.
Do that.
And then he did like the most professional interview out of anyone there. Yeah. So, but it's nice having, it's all a friendly joke and everything, but it's nice having that rapport with most of the fighters. But yeah, live stuff's scary.
Yeah, like down to so they made me. I didn't really know what was going on. I wasn't given that much information beforehand. Cyrus was kind of just looking after me, but he was like, "Yeah, we're doing a piece of camera now." I'm like, I didn't know that.
What does that mean?
What?
Yeah.
So and the thing was, this was a show in Finland, and it was by far maybe the most multicultural international show that has ever existed in the world.
Yeah.
There were like 25 different, the card was unbelievably big.
Nice.
And there was like 25 different countries being represented. Mm-hmm. So I could pronounce 0 of the names on this card.
Well, especially in Finland, because Finnish names are...
Yeah, they're ridiculous.
People think Polish names are the hardest. Finnish names are the best.
Yeah.
We had one guy who told us to not even bother trying to say his name.
Yeah.
It's easy. It's Juha-Pekka Vanakainen.
Yeah.
But he was like, call me Jambo. Jambo or something like that.
But that was so I remember I screwed up the first bit we did that luckily wasn't live. And then right at the end of the event, they're like, jump in the cage, we're going to go live. That was on Flow Sports.
Flow Combat.
Flow Combat, yeah.
Combat, yeah.
But even stuff down to like having to put makeup on.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't do that all that often. Yeah. I used to get the ring girls to touch me up a little bit.
Yeah, Cyrus was big into it.
Yeah,
Cyrus was big into it. I really want to get him on the podcast because he's hilarious. Man. I need to wait till he's over the UK doing something. But he was like, dude. He's an American guy. It's like, dude, I need some makeup, man. I'm looking washed out. Because like the guy's like flies in. He's smashing the Red Bull the entire time.
I used to do it just for bags under the eyes.
Yeah,
more than anything.
Yeah. He's like, I look like shit. I need some fucking makeup. So he like grabs some of the ring girls. And they do his makeup. And he's like, Dan, you gotta get some makeup on. I'm like, what?
Do I have to dye my beard?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's nerve wracking. Do you want to know a secret about?
Yeah.
Okay, so for I don't do it anymore, and it's actually only recently. And there's that psychological syndrome where like somebody can be driving along a road on a cliff and they can imagine what it'd be like if they just turned the steering wheel and jumped off. I can't remember what the actual clinical name is for it, but for the longest time, when you get the countdown, it goes completely silent, everybody's quiet, and you're waiting for the
Yeah.
For those of you at home who are just listening, I'm doing hand signals of counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you're waiting for that. And I would just look at the exit and think, I wonder what the fuck would happen if I ran out the door right now. Like, what would happen? What the fuck would happen? Would someone come in and pick up, like, and like, obviously I never would. And it's not, but I don't know why. I just, for the longest time, I would just think, what would happen if I bailed right now?
Yeah. That's interesting. Obviously, I know that that's a thing where you just like imagine the worst case scenario, and then you have to like stop yourself from doing it. I didn't know that they had a name for that, though.
Yeah. There's we'll have to Google it afterwards, but there's a proper
definitely.
name.
I'd be interested to find out what that is.
And yeah, so I used to do that for the longest time, and then I would get worried about, and I know John used to do this, and I'm sure lots of other people who get into doing live stuff have to. You get worried about stuff being like perfect.
Yeah.
And it's not supposed to be perfect. It's live, so it doesn't matter if you slip up a word or you. And I've got to say, the last Kasai that I did, which was in Brooklyn with Sean Williams.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever met Sean.
I've not met him. No.
Oh my god, that dude's sound. That dude is amazing.
Yeah. He's a really good guy.
He's brilliant. Yeah. And the thing is, with the way the Kasai system sets out, it's like Copa Podio style, 2 brackets, and you don't know how the points are going to shake out and who's going to.
It's a round robin, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we did a piece to camera at the end. I think I have 6 pieces to camera or 5 to do during that broadcast, and this is the last one, and we don't actually know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And you just get to riff, and we nerded out hard, and it was just because I said, you know what, you're supposed to just be. So you don't have to, you still got to have good posture and you've still got to project and all that kind of thing, but you haven't got to be like, tonight on the news at 10 o'clock, this is, you can just be like, bloody hell, mate, how about that fight?
Yeah.
And
it makes you appreciate like the people who do that. Like, you have no idea how hard live broadcast is
until you do it.
You do it. Yeah. But like the people who do live TV shows, game shows, talk shows, all of those live things where they've got like sometimes hours of just live to camera stuff
and improv and
unbelievable.
I mean, did you have, this is the thing that really complicates the issue, and it gets worse when you do post-fight interviews, did you have an in-ear mic at any point? Like, did you have a producer talking to you the whole time?
Yeah, no, we had a producer coming in.
Yeah, that's
so like the one the one thing that they had with me was like it wasn't constant.
Yeah.
But so Cyrus was doing the commentating with me, and then the guy who was meant to do the post-fight interviews, or the guy who was meant to do the announcing, got super ill.
The MC.
Yeah. He couldn't do it. So they got a guy to MC, but he couldn't or didn't want to interview them.
Right.
So Cyrus was kind of doing a Joe Rogan, where as soon as the fight ended, he'd get inside the cage and he'd interview the fighter. So then whilst that's happening...
Now, Dan, we're coming to you with replays ready in 5 seconds.
It wasn't that. It was you need to fill in between the fight before the next one.
Yep.
You've got to like say something. Yep. And they just jumped this on me. I'm like what?
You summarize the fight.
What do you want to say?
Yeah.
That's
really... that's usually not too hard for us because something has happened and we have to do it frequently. The Cage Warriors broadcast tomorrow night, there'll be... Because there's different broadcast streams that go out to different providers.
It is tomorrow night?
Yes, tomorrow night in London, yeah. There's different streams that go out to different providers depending on where they are in the world, right? Yeah. So Fight Pass get a different broadcast than BT Sport do. Okay. And the main thing that changes is BT Sport has advert breaks. Fight Pass doesn't. But obviously something has to happen during the advert break. So it's myself and Brad, Phil, for 3 minutes... ad hoc, live to camera between each fight. So generally you just talk about what happened in the fight. Now, that's easy until it's either an incredibly boring fight or someone finishes in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And then you have to start bringing in, okay, well, let's look at what else is going on in the division, or let's preview what's coming up next. And again, it's just something that with experience you learn to have more of these go-tos.
Yeah, I think the problem is that I was just on my own.
Yeah.
They were just like, Dan, talk. Talk us out. I'm like, what a great match, guys.
Oh yeah, but then, then you just start going, oh well, the crowd seem to be really getting into this one coming up next. You get used to that sort of shit. But the hardest, the only bit I still get even the slightest bit nervous about is post-fight interviews. Yeah, and I'm pretty honest. Most stuff I do in jiu-jitsu, I'm pretty honest about how I feel about things, and that's why people have tended to, with all the weight loss and all that sort of stuff. People have been very, they like it because I'm honest about generally when I like stuff, when I don't like stuff.
Sure.
And like, man, I get nervous. I still get nervous.
Yeah.
You know, I did 11 post-fight interviews last Saturday. I'll probably have 5 or 6 tomorrow night. And that is 20 seconds between finishing your previous thought, picking up the mic, walking into the cage, and trying to decide what you're going to ask the winner.
Yeah.
Not always that hard when it's, you know, maybe something decisive happened, but close fight, split decision, you don't know who's going to win.
Yeah.
You can't formulate your questions in your head. And I'm not that fast on my feet, you know. So I still get a little bit nervous doing post-fight interviews. That's
the hardest part for you?
Yes, just because it's a bit of an unknown. And I don't... At home, nobody really cares. Like, you know, like... I could ask the same questions generally, and people probably wouldn't mind, but I mind.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I have go-tos if I get really stuck, and occasionally I will completely blank as well. Like it's happened, and it's happened when you do them through translators, gets particularly hard.
Sure.
Right, because you've got to simplify the question enough that the translator is going to simplify it, and you know, so on and so forth back.
You're like looking at the guy, then looking at the translator.
Now, what people also don't realize is it's really loud, right? And what I'm doing is I'm staring at their lips non-stop.
You're trying to lip read. You can't
I have
hear
to.
it.
If I don't, there will be times when I just don't hear what they say.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I'm getting instruction in my ear.
Fuck.
Right, which is like, they can be saying something, and you might get a producer in your ear say, okay, we're going to bring in the replay of their finish, turn them around and point them at the live screen, at the big screen.
Yeah, no, I've never had that. That sounds like a nightmare.
And it's like, well, hang on a minute, shit, did he just, I missed what he processed or what he said.
Yeah.
You know, it's like when you're refereeing jiu-jitsu and you like glance to the side of the mat really quickly and someone swept someone and you're like, oh shit, what happened?
What happened here?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know that.
so it's, you know.
Especially when you've been doing it for like all night and it all blurs into, do you find that?
Yeah, so
this
blurs into one thing.
Yeah.
So it's really common. I will have, particularly with AMI guys or undercard guys, they will come up to me afterwards and they'll say, hey Josh, what did you think of my fight? And I have to look them in the eye and go, mate, I do not remember a single minute of it.
Yeah.
I don't. Because unless something really significant happens, I've got so much other shit going on in my head. Yeah. I honestly don't know what happened in most of the fights. I can remember the significant moments, and if I go and watch stuff back, obviously I will then remember it. In a bit more detail, but generally speaking, unless it was spectacular, I'm not really processing it to remember. I'm processing it to say something informative. So it changes the entire way you watch MMA and you watch jiu-jitsu and everything. And
it does all blur together, doesn't it?
Dude, I don't remember the last time I went to a show that I wasn't working.
Really?
But yeah, just because
your relationship with live MMA is completely different.
Yeah, it's not as like. It's not as fun. If I don't know, like if I haven't got a teammate fighting, I'm not going to see it.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, you know, which is fine. But yeah, it all blurs into one at the end of the day.
Have you ever had someone come up to you angry with your commentator?
Oh God, yes. Well, several times, but only once significantly where it was becoming a problem.
Go on.
It was a Cage Warriors show, and there was a guy who was competing on there, and I made a comment to the effect of he was a strength and conditioning coach as well. He was incredibly well built, extremely powerful, and I'd maybe implied that he was relying on that in lieu of some tighter technique.
Yeah.
Right? Which was an absolutely fair comment.
Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah.
It really was. But man, was he pissed. And he started like...
He full-blown roid rages on you.
Mate, social media, like harassment, everything. Yeah.
What was he saying?
I basically just got just constantly it's stuff that like you would borderline be, if you know the guy and you're friends with him, it's banter.
Yeah.
It's gym banter.
Yeah.
But when you don't, and I've met you twice and I'm not giving you banter back, it's basically you're just throwing online abuse at somebody.
Sure.
So I just did what you're supposed to do, like block.
Yeah.
You know. And then he got humbled at an event a little while later and started being nice to me again. He got beaten, and I was never not nice to him, but like that is a slight problem when you're friends with fighters as well.
Sure.
Friends with fighters and friends with people competing, you don't want to say anything bad about them. In professional ranks, it's rare you have to, because they all know what they're doing. Lower ranks, you know,
it's hard.
Yeah, I've had to Sorry, do you want me to?
No. You stay.
My producer does that. He comes and he pushes the mic closer to me. Like, you won't have ever seen it, but there'll be times when I'm interviewing somebody and you can't see it, but hand out of the picture is pushing my elbow up to move the mic closer while I'm in the middle of interviewing, in the middle of the ring. Yeah.
I used to just kind of in the podcast, I used to say, like, if you're too far away from the mic, I'll like give you a signal or something like that.
Now
like,
you're just like, fuck it, push the mic in
their face.
Yeah, I should know. Like, hold the mic right at your chin.
No, it's fine, man. You've been very good.
What was I saying?
Yeah, like
if you're friends with them, like occasionally
I've had that as well.
Yeah,
I remember I was doing one, and it was a guy I knew. I can't remember who it was. He was getting the shit kicked out of him.
Yeah, that's usually how it works.
He was getting the shit kicked out of him, and I was commentating with a friend of mine, and we were both friends with him, and he was getting the shit kicked out of him, and he was doing nothing right, and we were just like, he is durable. Like, his defense is on point.
Wow, how tough someone is usually what you say when they're getting the crap kicked out of them.
We were finding the thinnest silver lining on that mushroom cloud.
Oh man, no, I mean, look, it's I've got to the stage now where if it's not a pro, it's an undercard guy, I will flat out just say, there's some technical holes here. There's some fundamental, like you see it. The most common thing you see is someone gets mounted in MMA. They have no mount escape.
Yeah.
They don't even appreciate that if you get on your hip and start moving, you're subverting the base so the guy can't throw a decent punch.
Yeah.
Right. I flat out just say, he needs some basic jiu-jitsu. Now I do. Yeah. Before I was like, I can't ever criticize anybody. Now I'm like, a bit slightly. The more you do it, the more confidence you get. You realize,
I'm Josh Palmer, so I don't want about anyone.
Now I'm just like, you know what? Yeah, this is not the level of you should be at to do this particular promotion kind of thing.
Damn.
Yeah. I don't say that specifically, but that's what I'm implying. Come on.
Just like, wow, over here we have someone who is in the wrong show.
I mean, it's when you do the local domestic stuff, which
there's some crazy.
I haven't done for a while, but you know what UK MMA is like. You get the odd journeyman. I once judged a show, and I judged on a Friday night in one venue and a Saturday night in the other, down the road, and the same guy got head kick knocked out 2 shows in a row.
Fuck.
And you're just like, this is not good. Why even bother? And if I'd been commentating, I probably would have just given him 2 bloody barrels on everything.
Yeah.
But I think I didn't even bother picking up a pencil for those. I was just like, I know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, man. Tell me more about the behind the scenes stuff.
So, I mean, when people see these broadcasts, it's very easy for someone to go, they get a lot of criticism, right? And I'm very fortunate. I mean, maybe I'll get trolled off the back of this, but like almost nobody ever says anything negative about my commentary.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean they say positive things either. Now, luckily, people do say positive things, but I think if the commentator's done their job well, nobody should probably be saying shit about it.
Sure.
Like, you just bleed into the overall experience of the show. You shouldn't really be standing out. But people are very quick to be like, oh, these camera angles sucked, and and they'll criticize every single thing they possibly can. And the reality is there is a lot of moving parts, right down to like production meetings 2 or 3 weeks out. For not every show does them. Shows that are a lot more polished don't do them anymore. I've got one in a couple of weeks for Kasai because I'll be sitting down with Rich Byrne, who runs the show, and Hollis Gracie, and we'll be going through the narratives that we want to build around each matchup. And lots of, particularly when it's an 8-man bracket, you don't necessarily know who's going to fight who. You've got to have kind of contingencies for how you're going to do it. Because ultimately, people need to be interested in the fighters. So you've got to build a compelling reason for why the two are fighting. Other than just, oh, he's really good. We thought they'd fight. Which is sometimes easier than others. This full well, having had your throwdowns with AJ and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You've got to build a narrative, so we've got to be aware of that. You also need to start planning out, right, how many pieces to camera, how many mics, how many, what shot setup is going to be, that kind of thing. And then you've got to start the research. Now, the other hurdle you run into in a lot of MMA and jiu-jitsu is guys who just don't have any kind of, not necessarily don't have an online profile, but it's really hard to find information out about people when there isn't like interviews and stuff being done. Highest levels of the sport, it's a piece of piss. There's media on everybody. Yeah. If it wasn't for BJJ Heroes with some of these grappling events, my life would be really, really hard.
Really?
Yeah. But now I just, I used to do it, and now I've gone back to doing it, is sending all the guys who aren't superstars, I send them a questionnaire.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I legit get the promotion to send them a questionnaire.
Yeah, we used to do that at Tough. We used to, was it Tough? Yeah, we used to just go in and just ask them questions before the event.
I still do that. Like I'm going like, straight after this, I'm going down to weigh-ins and I'll chat to pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
Because there's always the extra last little bit. But yeah, and then when you get there on the day, you know, there's the production run-throughs, and then there's the rehearsals and all that sort of stuff, and then you get to see there's the rules meetings that people don't see, and the other production meetings and that kind of thing, and there's just a lot going on that nobody even thinks about. I mean, they shouldn't have to. That's not the point, but you know, and
before you criticize an event, basically realize that this is like a complex machine.
Man, there's a lot of moving parts. Yeah. There really is. And you know, if something goes wrong, the ultimate goal is that nobody knows that something went wrong.
Yeah.
But that's really rare. Like, you know, if something I got caught on a hot mic on the last show.
On the last
Kasai that I did. There was a 5-minute break through which I was doing a live piece to camera for 3 minutes of it, and the other 2 minutes were adverts.
Yeah.
And unbeknownst to me, they left my mic hot the entire time. So people in the broadcast could hear me over the top of the adverts and all that kind of thing. Now, luckily, I didn't say anything stupid, because I generally anticipate that might happen.
This is like the grab 'em by the pussy effect,
yeah,
right?
It's exactly that, yeah. You're also actually quite conscious that fighters backstage are watching as well.
Yeah.
Like most shows have TVs set up in the green rooms, so the fighters are watching the whole time as well.
Yeah, and usually the even if the mic doesn't go to broadcast, a lot of the time it's a different. It can sometimes be a different broadcast to backstage than it is to the.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it varies show to show, doesn't it? But yeah, getting caught on a hot mic is one. Getting caught talking back to the producers is one. They're the main things that go wrong with commentary, really. Yeah, that and we had our technical box completely die at a Cage Warriors show a few months ago, which was awful. Basically, you have your main lip mic set up, and then you always have a backup box as well, just in case your mics go down.
Yeah.
Now, in 100 live broadcasts, I've never had the mics go down, except this one time.
Wow.
And the box died, and then the backup box died. So they ran over and got us a presenter mic, you know, with the little plastic flags that, you know, and we had to stand up and share one presenter mic between us.
Fuck.
Bear in mind, you've got how many thousand people in the arena screaming. You've got no playback in your, like, you and I are wearing headphones now. We can hear our voice back.
Yeah.
Take your headphones off, add 3,000 people screaming, and then see if you can hear yourself think cogently. It's like, it's hard. It's, you know, you roll with it, but it's disappointing because
you don't have a choice, do you?
Yeah. You put so much effort into the broadcast and everything, and you want it to go well, and then when something happens that's out of your control, you can be pissed off about it, and then you're just like, well, did it make any difference in the scheme of things? Yeah, you know, probably not.
So what's the biggest difference for you between your MMA shows and your grappling shows? Firstly, what's the split between the two?
It's a little bit more MMA generally, but now I'm glad that it's like grappling's coming back full steam. Like, you know, all being well, I've got 6 massive grappling events this year.
Wow.
So that's great. Yeah, and I've had people ask me to do other stuff, and I was close to coming out.
Not MMA or grappling?
No. I mean, like, other grappling stuff.
Okay.
So, like, I was pretty close to agreeing to go out and do the World Championships and stuff like that. And just logistically, we couldn't work it. For flow, yeah. And just logistically, we couldn't work it out. Because I happened to be buying a house the weekend I was completing on my house the same weekend as the World Championships. So that didn't really go down very well. But yeah, I'm very glad that the shift is starting to happen where there's more grappling events. And
that must be hard to commentate on the Worlds.
I imagine so.
All day long.
6 hours a day, something like that. So, see, now that's interesting. That is a format that I've never done. I've never done an all-day event. I'd love to give it a go, but I've never had to do it. I do 6 hours in a broadcast, but I've never done 6 hours where it's like, just you've got 4 or 5 different mats to choose from, and it's constantly rolling over.
Yeah, it must be tough.
I'd like to do it, but grappling is different to commentating MMA, just because there is more downtime generally. The matches they're not longer in total minutes. I mean, you have 15-minute MMA fight, you have 15-minute sub-only grappling match, but 15 minutes in one go, like, it can get boring. Yeah. It can get boring. I mean, to suggest that there aren't downtimes you have to fill, you know. So generally what I do is, for MMA, I mean, it's morphed over time because my role is different in grappling than MMA for when I do commentary.
How so?
Well, I do play-by-play in grappling, so I chair and lead the entire broadcast in grappling. and then I do post-fight interviews and everything off the back. MMA, I basically do the Joe Rogan role.
Okay.
Where I don't have... So I don't have to worry about he's so-and-so old from such and such a province in this country and he grew up doing this. Like, I don't have to worry about that. I can literally just be like, well, you know, he's trying to attack a triangle and this is, you know... grappling at the moment requires a lot more preparation because of simply of the role. But what it does do...
The play-by-play guy has to do more prep than more research and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you got to have all the facts, basically.
Yeah, you got to have the bio information, which is the main reason behind those questionnaires, right? But let's say somebody's grappling and they pass the guard and they mount and they hold the guy in mount for like two minutes or something, right? Happens a lot. That's when you need that bio information, right? Because that's when you can be like, well, he wrestled at, you know, blah, 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 blah.
Be like, he's held him in mount for 5 minutes, which is only a fraction of the 42 years that he's been on this planet.
Yes, exactly. So you see what I mean? It's like grappling, there's more opportunity to build in that information, I feel like, into the bout because inherently there are slower periods.
Sure.
Not always the case.
So
you know.
What you're saying is that it tends to be the role of play-by-play is more important in grappling than it is in MMA.
Oh, that's interesting. Would I use that phrasing? Yeah, I think that's probably fair. I think that's probably
interesting,
fair.
But it makes sense why it would be, because you're going to have more static positions. You're going to have
exactly. There's more static positions, and there are more nuanced positions.
Sure.
To suggest that there are, like... One of the things that people always used to, like some of the crew and some of the fighters used to wind me up about a bit on the old Cage Warrior shows, is I made no bones about it. I love grappling.
Yeah.
Not a massive fan of stand-up, right? I've trained stand-up. I've trained enough stand-up to try and be okay if someone punches me in the face, right? But the reality is I can see what's coming in a grappling exchange really far ahead. When I'm in commentary mode, I can see it coming a long, long way ahead most of the time. Striking, I can't do that. You know, I'm just not... I haven't put as many hours into seeing when they dip that shoulder, when they feint that. That's an available combination. That's a target zone he's mixing up. That little bit of footwork. I can see when someone shifts their hips and what they might long step or something, you know, but I can't quite see that same degree of nuance in the striking exchanges.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy that I get to do more completely grappling-based stuff now because it's what I love doing. So,
and kind of going back to... You know, you've said a few times that, you know, like you said earlier, you said that if you were running a show, you kind of know exactly how you would run it.
I like to think I could, yeah.
So kind of going over some of the things, let's talk about Polaris. So Polaris was last weekend.
Oh, am I going to be live critiquing
fuck crew? It, why not? Why not?
I mean, look, the things that I screwed up that opener. I would tighten up on that for me personally.
Okay. I'm talking more in general.
Okay. The fluidity between some of the announcements and just the way the fights culminated, I think could possibly be cleaned up a bit. I think we need mic flags for the presenter mics, right, which are just the bits of plastic that go around the top. I think the changes we made to the venue were excellent.
What changes were made?
The stage was made much bigger.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because obviously we had Benson Henderson and AJ go flying off the front last time.
They brought it out?
Yep.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, they widened the stage, and again, that was one of the things that I alluded to in the rules meeting, was basically, guys, be aware of the edge of the stage. You are professionals.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to reset yourselves. But have some spatial awareness, you know.
Yeah, but Benson Henderson wanted to dump AJ off
he
the
knew
stage.
what he was doing.
Yeah, 100%.
Of course he knew what he was
100%.
doing.
That made it great, though.
It did.
That made it great.
Absolutely, it did. Although he tweaked his knee doing it.
Did he?
Yeah. But I'm sure if you ask him now, he'll say it was worth it.
Yeah, no, 100%.
But I need to go back and go through some more stuff. But there were some technical issues in the undercard that hopefully most people didn't notice that we could have cleaned up a bit earlier.
Like for me personally, from what, because I've done Polaris twice. In every way that you can do it. I fought in it twice, watched it live twice, and watched it on TV twice.
Ah, okay.
So I know all the different ways that you can view it.
Sure.
That, you know, and the biggest problem from watching it is I feel like there's two long breaks in between.
Right. That is something that I harp on about a lot to promoters.
I mentioned this already to Matt.
Yeah.
I did mention this. And I get it. Look, how many fights are there on Polaris?
6 undercards, 6 main.
So there's 12 matches.
Yeah.
Now, I get that they need the sponsors and the advertisers. They played the same 3 or 4 adverts in between.
I get what you're saying. There's not variety in what they're doing between each bout.
Like when there's a slower match that ends in a draw.
Right, you want to move straight on.
Ends in a decision. You're looking forward to the next one, and then it's like a mini intermission.
Yeah,
I feel like it kills the pace a little bit.
That's interesting. That's one thing that Graham, who runs Cage Warriors, was massive on from the start. He's like, there's no downtime.
Yeah.
He's like, that cage is full with something going on every time. And you and I both know, you obviously run a good, successful grappling event as well.
Yeah.
You know, I've run grappling events in the past. That is akin to empty mat space. When people are standing around going, why aren't I competing? I'm standing there for 7 hours. Why aren't I competing? Fluidity of the event is hugely important. And I think any time you break it up, you've got to be aware of why you're breaking it up, and it's got to serve a purpose.
And it's got to be entertaining.
Yeah, it doesn't. To be honest, the last Polaris it wasn't bad for me from that perspective, but I'm engaged in a different.
Yeah,
I can understand.
This is what I'm saying. You know, it's different when you're there.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I went there pretty much not by myself, but I went there with a small group, and then I went there with another group of degenerates, basically.
Was this This
is not when they were. This is not when I was fighting.
Okay.
I went with the same group of degenerates when I went to watch it down in Poole.
Oh yeah.
So they loved it because every time a match finished, they went and got shit faced for like 10 minutes.
And got a beer.
Yeah. But I think it does take away some of the pace. That's one of the things I liked about Quintet.
Yeah, they didn't have much downtime, did they?
They have nothing
at all. I mean, even between the semi finishing and the round finishing and the final, there was very little downtime.
Yeah, there is, which kind of makes sense because you're one after each other. It's kind of okay, and the whole point is that you're trying to wear each other out. So if you won the match and you were going to fight someone else, you literally you get your hand raised.
Yeah,
you walk to the side of the mat.
You get 1 minute.
You take a sip of water.
Yep.
Guy rubs your forearms a little bit. You walk back to the middle of the mat.
Yeah.
You know, it gets people. They'll be excited about, you know, whether they were excited or not about the last one. There's two things. The way that I see it, I think that's important. I think that you want, like, give people a break, and I don't even know how I feel about giving people a break. Full stop. Maybe before, maybe between the prelims and the main card.
Shark Tank him, jump straight on.
But like, not like that. But like, just people's in the audience.
Yeah.
Either you've got a not exciting match that ends in a decision. And what you want straight after that is, okay, don't worry, we've got another one coming at you, and this one's going to be exciting. Or there's a really exciting finish, and you want to go, okay, we've got that, and now we're going to have another one straight away.
Right.
And you're kind of adding on top of the excitement from the previous match.
Yeah.
I feel like every time there's a break in between matches. That's my personal opinion.
No, I completely understand that, and I'm sure you're not alone in that criticism.
Yeah.
But obviously there's got to be a balance between...
Well, I understand that it can be difficult. Like, you have to prepare a guy. But then, okay, so the best example of this is fucking EBI.
EBI have a lot of adverts.
Yeah, I know, but...
And I really don't like them.
But the time in between the matches...
You're right, the downtime between actual matches, they've got the other two on deck ready to go.
Bro, it's crazy.
Which I like, which I really like.
It's crazy. I did not like that because it... So for those who did...
But it's enabled in the same way that Quintet's enabled by a tournament format.
Yeah.
You don't have to... Like, when it's something like Polaris or Cage Warriors or you know, Kasai has the same thing, right? We don't have to redo the walkout and the bio for the person every single time because you've already done it once.
Yeah.
And you know, it's a bit different when you have to do that. So you have to reset everything. You have to play your little VT segment to build up the anticipation, and then you have to do the walkouts. And yeah, there's just a function that's different there.
Yeah. But the whole thing with EBI is... There was a producer. The producer running that, I swear to God, he was like 16 years old. He was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
He was awesome.
He knew exactly what he wanted to do.
This kid rocked in there, and he was just like, okay, guys. You know, he gave the whole Dana White spiel, you know. It was like, he was wicked. And he's like, look, we're on UFC. We've got 3 hours to do this. Yeah. We've got an X number of matches to do. So let's get it.
Yeah.
We're gonna have guys fighting. The guys who are fighting next are going to be on the stage, and the guys fighting after that are going to be waiting in the wings. So you go out 3 fights before you actually fight.
Oh, okay. So they queued up even before that.
They queued up before that. So the match would finish as you are walking off the mat.
Yeah.
The other guys are getting off the stage onto the mat.
But they need to do that.
As they're getting onto the mat, you're climbing onto the platform behind them.
That's cool.
And then they're bringing more people around to the corner.
The holding area, yeah.
So it's if anything, that's too much. feels a bit rushed.
I know what you
like,
mean.
As a competitor.
Yeah.
Like, as a competitor, I quite enjoy... Polaris was one of the better experiences that I had as a competitor. EBI was one of the not as good experiences.
Right.
Just because...
But it was slick.
But it was fast.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's the two different sides of it. So yeah, it's interesting in that regard. But yeah, I think that you need to... And the other thing is like music.
Right.
Drop some fucking music during the fights.
During the fights?
During the fights.
I don't know about that.
Look,
that's what I'm there for.
I'm telling you. Yeah, that's true. That would get in the way of the commentary, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I get why you do it at your grappling events, because it's freaking... I've competed on Cleos. I really enjoy it.
Cleos?
I competed on Cleos.
Oh, sick.
You refereed me once, and I think
This is what I say about all... It will just
blurs together. Blurs together into one, yeah.
I do vaguely remember now.
Yeah. I lost my first match, won the next two, got bronze.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, that's... I mean,
even just a little bit.
But no, I get what you're saying. Yeah, you can amp it up. Try and amp it up a little bit more.
Because one of the things about Polaris as well, and it's a nice thing about grappling events, and it also can be a bad thing about grappling events, which is the atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's very quiet.
Can be.
It can be very quiet, and I heard the last Polaris was very quiet.
Yeah, that was partially, I think, due to we clashed with the football and the tennis as well. So, but yeah, the difference from a commentator's perspective when there is audience interaction and not audience interaction is unreal.
Almost sneezed.
I know.
I didn't make it.
And I'm sure you feel that as well when you're competing.
Oh yeah.
If the crowd are getting behind you, it's but it's the same thing from my perspective. You will hear. Like, I'm not a fan of commentators who feel, excuse me, feel the need to put artificial excitement in. It's okay that you can say fights are not exciting.
Yeah.
They're not. If these two people, like that heavyweight fight from the UFC a couple of weeks ago.
Oh my God.
Right. That's a shit fight.
Yeah.
Say it's a shit fight.
They
you
did.
know. Yeah, exactly. So I don't feel the need to go to try and come up with some false sense of it being exciting.
Yeah.
The crowd will let everyone know if it's getting exciting. They will lift the tempo in my voice, and eventually it gets to the point where you're almost shouting at the mic, and I'm sure that helps come across. But the commentators need the crowd to feed off as much as possible, because otherwise they're just false and they're the whole thing's just fake. I mean, look, really good example. Nicky Ryan, Gio Martinez. I called that fight in New York, and by the end of it, the entire crowd was just like on their feet. And for a grappling match, like it's the same when you fought AJ was something similar.
Yeah.
When Husamar fought Gary Tonin on Polaris, that was something similar. They can get behind it and they can make it exciting, but when it's not, it can definitely affect you as a commentator.
Because I heard that people were shushing people who were talking in the audience at the last Polaris.
Oh, that's funny. I have no concept that any of that's going on.
Of course not.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like it's one of those things where like in Japan, it was very quiet.
Right, of course.
But if something happens, everyone makes a loud noise. It's kind of it's an interesting combination. I feel like the music, even if it's very quiet, in the background, it breaks the ice.
Yeah.
It kind of breaks the room down a little bit.
Sure.
And allows people to be a little bit louder.
I mean, your precedent's Muay Thai for that, isn't it?
Yeah.
They play music the whole time.
Exactly.
So it'd be interesting to try.
This is what I'm saying. Just try on the prelims.
Yeah. Okay.
And I spoke to Gareth and I spoke to Matt about it, and Gareth was saying that he was wanting to do it in the prelims. Give it a fucking go.
Well, we'll see. Maybe Polaris 8.
Yeah.
Be interesting.
Yeah. That's what I think anyway. What we were talking about something else. I can't remember what it was.
See, this happens to me on broadcasts.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, what do I say? Make something up.
Yeah, pretty much. Make something up, Josh. Yeah. So what events do you have coming up now? You've got Cage Warriors tomorrow.
Cage Warriors tomorrow, and then the next big grappling one is Kasai in Manhattan.
What's the card looking for that?
It's insane. It's genuine. Like the super fights are genuinely nuts, and like the 3 super fights. And I'm going to guess the order they're going to do them. I think the first super fight will be Gianni Grippo versus John Calistine. So we get to see if Grippo can berimbolo his way past someone who's just going to grab his foot and try and remove it as fast as possible.
Calistine is the Discord guy.
Is what, sorry?
He's the Danaher guy.
Not anymore.
Oh, really? He left?
Yeah, they're kind of a separate entity, him and Matt Kaplan. They're kind of a separate thing now.
But they were connected.
Yeah, originally, yeah.
There's some interesting stuff going on there.
There's a lot of politics going on. I don't pretend to understand it.
Because I know, like, Eddie isn't part of it.
Again, I hear bits because I am based in the northeast of the US now. Yeah. But I don't pretend to know it all, and quite frankly, I don't really care. Like, you know, I just want to see the guys compete.
Gossip is great, man.
Yeah, it can be. I mean, look, my thing is just, you know, people can wait around for matches all the time, you know, but just take a bloody match, and if you're that confident, just break the guy, and then someone will give you another match, and you'll get the deals you want eventually.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited to see Grippo and Kallenstein. I think that's a really interesting clash of styles. Grippo's been able to avoid leg games from anyone he's faced before. So we'll see if there's a certain viciousness to Kallenstein's leg game, which we saw at EBI, which obviously I think helped when he got to the later rounds because he'd finished everybody so bloody quickly. Sure. He wasn't tired, you know.
Like Craig Jones when he was at EBI.
Yeah, and like, you know, Gio obviously went against Ash and went the full distance, and there's Kallenstein taking a guy out in like 2 minutes. So that's a really good super fight. Obviously, they've just announced, and I have to say, it's actually one of the coolest little 45-second promos I've seen cut for a grappling match.
Yeah,
is Gio Martinez versus AJ Agazarm.
Yeah,
at 155, which obviously, you know,
who have you got?
I'm not allowed to make predictions.
Are you not?
Okay, so look, I say I'm not allowed. Of course I could if I wanted to, but out of respect for people,
I'm professional.
Yeah, I don't make predictions.
Sure.
The same way that I don't like name other commentators I think have screwed up and are crap.
Sure.
You know what?
That'll be my next question.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute. But no, I never make predictions before events. I have an idea of what I think might happen, and generally when I have to do media pieces and that kind of thing, I will basically say, here's what could happen for this guy, and here's what could happen for this guy. And it is rare that you get a situation where they don't both have ways to win, especially at higher levels. So it's easy enough to do that. And a lot of the fights are so evenly matched that I'll sit down with my mates who are all, you know, again, they've all been doing this a long time as well, and we'll be like, yeah, you know, you do that thing, you're like, I just don't know, and you go through the permutations. I think that one's going to go the distance, personally. Yeah.
What's the rules for Kasai?
That one will be a ref's decision.
Okay.
Yeah, three refs, and all the refs are like high-level IBJJF guys.
Okay.
But that will go the distance, I'm pretty certain. Because when was the last time you saw AJ tap to anybody?
Yeah, very rare.
He's stubborn.
He's tough as fuck.
He's tough and stubborn. And then Gio ain't exactly a lightweight, is he? So,
yeah,
you know, and AJ, whilst AJ does finish people, AJ's...
It's rare.
Yeah, Gio's good enough that, you know, AJ's going to have to catch him clean.
He's not going to get finished.
So I think it's going to go... I don't think either guy.
Did you see Satoshi Ishii hanging off of Gio's arm?
Oh yeah, man, dude, that's one of those examples of the weight discrepancies that makes it interesting. But holy crap, like, my shoulder hurts.
110 kilo judo Olympian. That guy looks like a fucking cartoon character. He's got a head like a fire hydrant. I
mean, I've heard people say that Gio is at that weight is one of the strongest human beings they've grappled with.
Really?
Yeah, I've heard more than one person.
What's
say
his
that.
weight?
It's like it's between 145, 155, isn't it? I think might even be lighter.
Yeah,
but yeah, he, you know. That's just a display of just awesomeness, isn't it?
Yeah,
so
that's cool.
So that's a good match. And then obviously Craig Jones is fighting Husamar Polaris.
Oh yeah, that would be good.
It's going to be nuts.
Would you? You can't predict it.
I think Craig will catch him.
Yeah,
I think if on balance, I think so. I think Craig's tight enough that.
How long's the matches?
I think they're going to be 15 minutes. Those ones. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a very different match.
I don't know if you can tap Polaris with a leg lock though.
Well, that's again.
I just don't think
that's
he'll
what
tap.
That's what we're going to find out, right? And you know, it's going to be a very different match to when Gary fought Husamar Polaris.
Gary's a lot more open, a lot more dynamic.
Right, exactly. He got up into wrestling positions. He got thrown. He'll stand up and try and like Kanabasami him or roll through on a knee bar entry or that kind of stuff. Craig's going to be like Z guard, invert underneath, you know, and try and play that much tighter game. But it's going to be interesting. Yes. And I don't have the same malice towards Polaris competing as so many people seem to have.
I don't either.
Especially in grappling. Like,
he's never been bad in grappling.
No, very rare. No. And somebody had a go at me the other day and said, oh, what about ADCC, the ADCC that you did not?
That was ridiculous.
Yeah. What about David Avalon? And I'm like, well, Avalon put himself in that footlock and he agreed to be restarted.
Did you go to that?
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, Torquinho has a bad rep in MMA because he seems to hold on to them.
Yeah, he's held on to subs past the stop point.
But there's obviously look, he's not all there. Can we just get on board with this? The guy's not the sharpest tool in the shit.
I have gone with the idea that he had a very hard upbringing and he's just a bit slow because of it.
Yes.
Like, it's not malice, it's just not knowing.
He was trained by Murillo Bustamante, who fought for I believe it was for the middleweight title, where he fought Matt Linland and then tapped, and then said he didn't.
Oh, you're going back now.
And he tapped him again. Do you remember that?
I don't know if I saw it.
Yeah, so
I remember.
So Murillo Bustamante taps him. He tapped. They stopped the match. This is the only time it's ever happened in MMA. They stopped the match, and then they restarted the match, and he tapped him again.
Right.
Okay. So you're coming from a guy who was his mentor, who was always, I imagine, preaching,
leave no doubt.
Don't let go until the ref pulls you off.
Yeah.
So I think that probably has a contributing factor.
Yeah.
In grappling, he's always been cool.
Yeah. I loved his man hugs at the ADCC.
That was fucking hilarious.
Oh, dude, when he fought on Polaris, we got back to the hotel and I literally said, "Can I please have a man hug for Instagram?" Just so I could get the back slap.
Did you get one?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's my favorite Instagram videos.
Awesome.
But I mean, like, he was
the star of that ADCC.
Yeah, he seemed super. Oh, absolutely. He seemed super humble. He seemed just like a friendly guy.
Yeah.
I would never ever want to lock up with him on a mat, but he seemed great. So I have no issue with people still giving him the chance to compete.
Yeah, and when he was letting go, he was heel hooking people. He was letting go at them fucking fast.
Yeah,
like immediately
in grappling. Yeah,
in grappling, he lets go very quickly. When he fought David Avilan, for those who don't know, he heel hooked him as they rolled off the mat. Mm-hmm. So they stopped the match. He gets up and starts celebrating, assuming it was a tap.
Yeah,
because it was a fully locked off heel hook and it's fucking Torquinho. David Avilan starts throwing a hissy fit, saying, I didn't tap. I want to restart.
Yeah.
They restart back in the middle in
a locked-in heel
hook.
Yeah.
With Torquinho. Yeah. What's wrong with you?
Exactly. It's his own fault.
And the thing is, he was looking around like, do you really want to do this?
Yeah. I think everybody was. Everybody was like, oh, no. If I'd been commentating, I'd have been like, this is a really bad decision.
So they lock it in, and they say go, and he fucking rips it on. And and Avilan taps and screams and rolls around on the floor, and Torquinho just gets up like, "What the fuck did you expect?
What was I supposed to do? Yeah.
What did you expect?
So I'm with him on that one.
Yeah,
I would love to do ADCCs one day, man.
Commentate?
Yeah,
who doesn't?
It was Flo this time, so I think it was Sean and Ricardo Amendolia did them, and I thought they did good broadcast.
Yeah,
enjoyed it.
I can't remember who did it when I was.
Did anybody do it? Was it even broadcast back in 2011?
It was broadcast, but I don't know if it was even commentating on it.
I don't think... It probably wasn't. I went to 2009 in Barcelona and then 2011 in Nottingham, and sadly they've been bloody miles away, so I haven't really had a chance since. And of course, when it was in Finland, if I'd still been living in the UK, I would have...
Sure, yeah.
I would have gone in a heartbeat.
But the next one's in California, right?
Yeah, I think so. Okay, I guess I'm going to the West Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's only a 6-hour plane flight for me.
There you go. I'm hoping to get there as well. What are we talking about? Are we talking about Kasai?
Yeah. So look,
Torquinho would be good.
Yeah. So they're great fights, and then the 8-man bracket for the kind of Copa Podio style welterweight belt is pretty solid. Marcin Held, I'm looking forward to seeing how he does.
Nice.
Yeah. Wagner Rocha is in it, and I'm sure he's going to turn that into a serious battle. He's got to be a front runner, I think. Hinato Canuto is probably a front runner as well. He won the Kasai lightweight belt, and he won Worlds.
Is this no-gi?
Yeah. And he won Worlds no-gi, so he's got to be a contender for that as well. They've just announced a bunch of other names, but I haven't had a chance to go through them properly. But they all look pretty solid.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it should be good. It's a good broadcast. It's a good show. They've moved to a new venue.
Yeah.
This time they're doing the Hammerstein Ballroom in Manhattan, which seats. Oh, now I'm too close.
No, I'm going to spin it around just so I can look at you. I'm looking at your pretty face. There you go.
There we go.
There we go.
Now I'm. So they're moving to a nicer venue.
Yeah.
Seats about 1,500-1,600.
Wow.
But it's set up like Glory did a show there, and I looked at the photos from Glory, and I was just wowed. I was like blown away. Yeah, architecturally, it's a stunning venue, and I think for fans, it's going to be really, really good.
What's the best venue that you've seen a grappling event?
that I've seen a grappling event.
Yeah.
To be honest, the last one we did Kasai at was banging.
Really?
Oh man, they dress it. It's like an industrial warehouse in
Nice.
in Brooklyn.
I like that, yeah.
And it's like it's all floor to ceiling glazing behind us down one side, so it like lights the whole thing, and then it's exposed brick walls the whole way around. Giant platform, giant screen. Aesthetically, I mean, I'm an architect. That's what I do. That's what I do for a living. Right? So aesthetically, that really spoke to me as like, okay, I could have this as my loft as well as watch a grappling event here.
I've always wanted to run an event in an abandoned swimming pool.
Oh, that's creepy,
right?
Yeah,
called the Grapple Pit.
Didn't like an Olympic swimming pool.
Yeah,
you know, for a long time we were going to be doing the guys at Cage Warriors, when we were doing a bunch of shows in the Middle East. We did 9 shows in Jordan, right?
Wow.
Yeah, and
why is that?
It was to do with the funding, and you know, and
someone in Jordan was paying for it.
Who knows, man? And like it being a niche, burgeoning market, and all that kind of thing.
Jordan's nice, man.
There's a Colosseum there.
Oh shit!
And they were looking at one point of trying to do an event in the Colosseum, and that would have been insane. But to be honest, most of the time they're sports halls and theatres, aren't they? So there's nothing that, you know.
The EBI was at Orpheum.
Yeah,
that was cool. Have you been there?
No,
that's really nice. No. And
again, it's theater style though, right?
Yeah, but like old school, super old school.
Yeah, which is what this Hammerstein Ballroom is.
Yeah.
But they've moved to they seem to be moving around a fair bit now, don't they?
So I heard someone told me that Bellator were trying to do it in the Colosseum.
Yeah, they are.
They'll never be allowed to do that.
No, never. Dude, go for it.
That might be the most American thing that I've ever seen in my entire life. It's like an American company
cultural appropriate an entire
thinking that they can come and use like one of the most preserved ancient structures.
I mean, there's been some MMA events in some pretty wicked looking outdoor venues before. None that I've done personally, but I've certainly seen photos from some that I've just thought, that's stunning. I would love to do that.
Yeah.
But there's a bunch of reasons why that's also awkward, you know, obviously.
Outdoor events?
Yeah, temperature, humidity, all that sort of rubbish. Most of the time, we're in sports halls and theatres and stuff, you know. And it's just the same reason why, even though I get to do a lot of travelling, a lot of people, you know, it's like, how much of a place do you see?
Yeah.
You know, you're there for 30. I've done some shows in some weird places, man. Like we did a bunch in the Middle East, including like out of the way places in the Middle East. Like we did one in a place called Al Fujira. Okay. Which is like nowhere you would ever go, ever. A couple in Dubai, Abu Dhabi. We did the Ukraine. Just one in Kiev before it all kicked off in Kiev.
Was that Cage Warriors?
Yeah. Cage Warriors take us some gnarly places, man. The weirdest one was Chechnya.
Really?
Like we did a show in Grozny, and I got a phone call basically saying, hey, we need your passport. Can you overnight it down to the office so it can go to the Russian embassy and get a visa put in one day from the Russian embassy? And then we flew from, where did I go? I flew from London to Berlin to Moscow. Moscow, we got met by a guide who took us through the airport, and then we boarded a plane to Dagestan, because there's no way to legally really get into Chechnya. There's one plane flight.
Serious?
Yeah, there's like one plane flight a week, but they can just bribe you extra at the thing or decide that you're not allowed to go in. So we flew from Moscow to Dagestan, which was hilarious because there's like 20 of us or 10 of us on that last little leg of the trip. And we rock up, and you know how it says, okay, next plane is the 705 to Dallas or the, you know, whatever. This is just like unknown airport is what it says. It's literally like the right flight number, but it says unknown airport. Fuck. And I'm not even going to try and pronounce the name of the bloody airport. It's something like Mashkachkala or some crazy, you know, Dagestanian sounding name. But we flew to that capital, and then we got met by the airport was a hangar.
Why the fuck would you run something?
It's a long story, but I think basically, again, somebody wanted to fund a whole show out there, and they offered to pay for the whole thing, so we did it. But we turned up, and the terminal was closed. I say terminal, the hangar building was closed. So we're sitting, the plane's dropped us off. It's 2 a.m. in the morning in Dagestan. There's no lights or anything on. And this person turns up and literally unlocks this padlock on what is the terminal building, the hangar. And this old Soviet tractor that smells of oil and diesel comes puttering up, with our bags on, and they throw them through the window.
No.
Yeah, throw them through the window while we're standing there watching into this hangar building. We go and we get our bags, we get in a minibus, and we drive 3 hours across the mountains in Dagestan into Chechnya and into Grozny, which at the end of the war, Grozny was deemed the most destroyed city on the planet or something.
What?
And they'd rebuilt a bunch of it, but it was weird, man. I mean, we stayed in the only 5-star hotel there, which is like 20-story or 30 stories tall.
So bullet holes in it.
So there were plenty of places. I mean, we did a show in Beirut, and there's plenty of bullet holes in Beirut still. Beirut, Jordan, all those places. When we pull into the hotel, you got to get bomb swept and all that jazz, and go through metal detectors into the hotel. But this one was weird, and especially there's that little extra bit of trepidation because it's a red flagged country as far as UK travel is concerned.
Sure.
So your travel insurance is invalid as soon as you set foot on the plane. There's no embassy. There's no help. There's nothing. You're like, if something goes wrong, you are screwed. And we get there at like 4 or 5 in the morning. Did
you have some bodyguards or something?
I mean, there probably were.
Someone must have been packing heat, right?
I think there was a lot of mafia about, yeah. Nice. A lot. Not that I personally... I didn't personally...
If someone was organising an MMA show there, it's probably connected.
Yes.
They love their MMA.
Well, yeah, no, from what I understand, we were there as the anniversary celebration of... the death of President Kadrov's father, something like that. It was something like that. I don't remember the full story. And I didn't ask too many questions. And I think like a relative of the president fought on the show as well.
Really?
Yeah. And
did he win?
He did. Yeah, he actually won though.
Yeah,
like he legit won.
Okay.
Oh mate, it's like you know the scene in Rocky. If you catch up with any of the guys who... I didn't take any photos and I really regret it, but if you catch up with any of the guys who were judging or refereeing or that kind of thing, they have some great photos because it was in this sporting venue. And in Rocky 4, when Drago's coming out and they unveil that ridiculously big poster of him as it rolls down the wall. Right. Well, on one side of the cage, there's like this raised plinth, and there's these chairs for the president and his dignitaries to come to the event. And then above, there is a giant poster of him, a giant poster of his dad, and a giant poster of Vladimir Putin.
Wow.
All like 10 meters high on the wall.
It's like how they do it in Abu Dhabi as well.
Yeah. And we had... and we had bomb sniffing dogs and stuff go through the arena and everything beforehand and that kind of stuff. But this hotel, it's like they were definitely not equipped to deal with that number of influx of visitors at one time. Because I remember going to the restaurant to try and get some food, and it's like fighters are getting upset because they've been waiting like an hour for their food because they're just not used to having guests. But the view, I mean, the glass dome on the top, beautiful view. What I saw of it was nice. But it was scary. And then what compounded the flipping panic for me was I lost my bloody passport.
No.
Yeah, and what had happened is I'd got there and somebody handed it in at reception.
Oh, wow.
Like, talk about that for saving grace, because otherwise I'm screwed.
Yeah.
And what had happened is I'd got there super early in the morning, sat down in the lobby, and I was so tired I'd fallen asleep.
Yeah.
And I'd dropped my passport out of my hand on the floor while I'd been falling asleep. But yeah, and then so we did the show. I was in the country for like 30 hours or something. Got back on the plane, or got back on the minibus, back to Dagestan, back to Moscow, back to Berlin back to home.
What?
So all of that in the space of like 3 days.
Damn.
And like, I wouldn't trade it, but
you wouldn't want to do it every weekend.
Oh God, no. And would I risk doing something like that? I mean, there were some cool ideas that were getting bandied around. Like, okay, we're going to do a show on a British aircraft carrier. We're going to do a show in the green.
This is Cage Warriors.
Yeah, we're going to do a show in the green
They're really
zone.
out there.
Well, at the time, there were lots of cool ideas getting thrown around. There was some rumor about us doing a show for the troops in the green zone in Baghdad and getting flown into Iraq in a flipping military plane out of Bryce Norton.
Wow.
Which, I would have done in a heartbeat just because.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, there were some very cool opportunities. And I think because we got to do all those things, there was a period a couple of years ago where I stopped doing commentary completely. Just because I moved to the US. And I don't know if you know much about visas and all that, but legally, when you go on the type of visa that I had, you can't leave the country.
Wow.
Yeah. So when you go to get married, which is what I did, I met my wife in London, but she's from New Jersey. I moved over there, and you can't, until you're married and your green card is processed, which is about 9 months, right? You can't legally leave the country. You also can't legally work for an American employer, which screws a lot of people.
You're all right because you were working for a
because
UK
I
employer.
earn money in the UK. I had other avenues of income, so I was okay. But I had friends who did it, and it's like you got to live off your savings for 9 months, which gets expensive.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there was a period where I stopped working for any commentary at all because I couldn't legally leave the country, and you know what? I was cool with it. Like I'd hit a point where I'm like, I've had a really good time doing this for 5 or 6 years, and I managed to separate it from a part of my identity where I was like, you know what, I had a good time, I'm ready to go do something else. And in the, I had about 8 or 9 months before I moved where I wasn't doing any shows either because they stopped. They went on hold for a bit, and I just went and did something else. And I kind of just in my spare time I trained as a life coach or performance coach, whatever you want to call it.
Really?
Got qualified to that because I always wanted something, just stuff to do in my spare time. I just like little self-improvement goals.
Yeah.
So that was one of them. And I did that.
Do you work as that?
No. I mean, I could if I wanted to. It helps with interviewing and that kind of thing because you understand question formulation and that kind of approach and goal setting and all that kind of stuff. But, it's an option. If I wanted to do something like that at some point, I have a skill set to do it.
Yeah.
But it's not, it's not particularly what I want to do. But it was interesting to me at the time, and it was something that I wanted to help improve help me with setting goals in my own life and that kind of thing. Yeah. Anytime I've set goals, they've been great. It's just you don't do it all the time, do you? Sure. So I did that, and then I moved, and then I was very lucky that Cage Warriors started back up again, and I'd obviously done a good enough job that people wanted to fork out the extra money to fly me over. So I get free holidays.
Nice, man.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
So you see yourself doing this kind of... Do you have any goals in the commentating? Do you want to...
So... I have never really sat down and said, you know what, I think I could do this for a living, or would I even want to do this for a living? Because you look at people who do this for a living, and it's it's
savage.
It's graft, man. It's like anything, it's graft, and a lot of traveling is not that fun. You get to the point where it is like it's another hotel room and another plane flight, and look, I've it's a first world problem, but look, there's no new movies on the plane because I already flew 3 times this month. I think like in March, because of various things that happened with my family and various broadcasts, I did the US to the UK like 5 times in March.
Wow.
And it's like, that's just not fun. I was broken after that. I was just like, that's too much. So would I want to do it full time?
There and back 5 times?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and I'm like, would I want to do that all the time? Would I want to be one of those guys who spends all their time, I'm going to LA and do a show this week, I'm doing it, maybe. I don't know. I wouldn't say no. Be interesting. But I've honestly never sat down and thought, could I do that for a living? But we'll see. I mean, I've got...
What would the goal be? It would be like UFC.
If it was specifically combat sports commentary, yes, but I'm not... The UFC have no reason whatsoever to hire me, and I wouldn't expect them to. There's too many ex-fighters who can pick up this additional skill set
and be a name
and have a following and do the and am I better than people who are doing it? Fuck yeah. Like, I'm not, yes, I think I am. But I'm not so much of a is to realise that there aren't a bunch of other factors that affect it. I don't sit there and think, I should be doing that. Like, no, if I get a chance to do it, great. If I don't, so be it. I've got enough other shit I do. It would be interesting. One thing I've never really thought about is if any other broadcasting would ever come my way.
So non-combat sport?
Yeah.
Like what?
I've no idea. I've absolutely no idea. But I'm working with Kenny Florian next month. And
on
Kasai.
Okay.
And Kenny... He does battle bots for the Discovery Channel.
That's fucking cool.
Right, exactly. So, like, how cool would it be to do something? I don't know. Like, maybe you could do like, let's get me on the UK and Ninja Warrior version or something.
Man, those guys are douchebags. It's Chris Kamara and Ben Shepherd.
I think I watched your appearance, and that was kind of it.
They were mean. They were mean to me.
But
I've been playing. You know Ben Shepherd. He runs another show called. Oh fuck! What's it called? It's like the giant penny machine show. Have you seen it?
Oh, okay. Right, where you drop a coin in and it goes
point. The tipping point. I applied to be on the tipping point
just to wind them up.
Yeah, I was gonna get to the final and then reveal, like, take off my clothes. And reveal the leopard leotard.
Nice.
You don't remember me, Ben Shepherd, do you? I'm here for my vengeance.
No, I mean, look, it'd be cool to do some other stuff, but
do fucking Robot Wars. That'd be awesome.
I would. Look, if someone came along, I would. But I have no idea how you'd even go about putting yourself out there to do it, all that kind of thing. So I'm not expecting to. I'm not holding out to. If somebody wanted to come along and say, "Hey, we thought you did an okay job on this. Come try out to do this," then I'd probably say yes. But again, it kind of goes back to what you said, where it's like people undervaluing themselves because maybe it's a niche that isn't a full-on blown thing yet. And we're getting to that point in jiu-jitsu where it's tipping a bit. You know, where there are grappling shows. When I first started commentating for Cage Warriors, there weren't any grappling shows you were commentating. Oh, except the Submission 1000, I did that a little bit.
Did you do that?
Yeah, because you had John Maguire in that, didn't you? At one point. Yeah, John tapped Andy Roberts, and then
I beat John.
Yes, and then you beat John.
Yeah. That was a cool that was one of the first grappling shows in the UK.
Yeah, I judged the MMA side of that and then commentated the the grappling side of that. That's bad. That seems like so long ago.
It was a long,
but it is funny because you look at the other guys who judged that show, right? Dave Letherby and Ben Cartledge. They're regular judges for the UFC.
Oh, are they?
They're like non-stop flying everywhere judging for the UFC.
Was that who was
yeah, I only remember this because a photo popped up on Facebook the other day. But yeah. So it's back in the day, man. Yeah,
and then on the second one there was like Braulio came down, didn't they?
Right, and I think they did that commentary for that one. But I know Braulio and Drysdale are doing ACB jiu-jitsu commentary at the moment, aren't they? Yeah.
Because Braulio commentated, then jumped on the mat and fought, and then went back to commentary.
Don't do that. It's not.
That's like the Meta Morris when
Jeff Glover did it. I mean, that was an interesting one-off kind of thing.
Yeah, because Jeff Glover's a fucking crazy man.
I have an issue with the professionalism of some commentators in our sport. If you want it to be bigger and you want it to be, when Kurt Osiander did it, no. Just no. What are you bringing to the table that is of value to us putting across a good image and progressing this sport as a professional? Same with the whole Renato Laranja character doing it.
They bring him on EBI, don't they?
I just, fuck off. No, I don't, I'm not,
You're a consummate professional.
It's not that, you say that like it's a bad thing, but...
No, not at all.
But
not at all. I always say that. People ask, I recommended you. I'm sure, they've thank
you very much.
If anyone asked me, the commentator, I think that you're the best commentator around.
Oh, thank you.
So yeah, and you're you are consummate professional. You bring a level of professionalism.
I just think people need it, and I think the sport needs it if you want the thing to be taken seriously. And I think we're going to run into a point where jiu-jitsu, people are going to realise jiu-jitsu is maybe not ever going to burgeon into a wider spectator sport.
People just going to give up.
I don't think they're going to give up, but I think it's going to. I think it's going to change.
This ain't going to happen.
Yeah. I think the what's funny is we always get compared to the EBI guys, right? Because for the longest time, the two shows on Fight Pass that are Grappling are Polaris and EBI, so we always get compared to TJ and the EBI guys, and I think they had some tightening up to do, and I think they have. But I would love to do EBI, man. I'd love to be the guy that you go to on Fight Pass to cover most of the grappling.
Yeah.
But I'd have to fight one of my really good friends for that, because at the gym I train at the moment, one of the black belts, Professor J, he's awesome. He's one of the nicest human beings I've ever met. But he really wants to do EBI commentary, and he'd be good at it, because he does all the fights or wins in the area, finishes sub only. He's the guy for commentary in the Northeast, right? And he's good, right? Yeah. And he's good. He sponsored one of our friends who was competing on the show. He put his face on a logo that said Jay Regabuto for EBI commentary, and sponsored the rash guard and stuff. I was like, mate, why didn't I think of that? That is the dopest. Because I've never been that outspoken about going to a show and saying, look, your dude's crap, hire me. I don't think, again, that comes back to, I don't think that's particularly.
So who do you think's crap, and do you think they should hire you?
No, look, I'll be honest. There's a lot of commentators I listen to, and I'm like, what? I'll listen to some Fight to Win guys from further afield, and they'll be talking about video games or something like that. I'm like, what is going on? What am I listening to? I mean, Fight to Win fell into that, if I'm critical of them, they fell into that trap early on, because they use regional guys in every area they go to, right?
They do a lot of shows all over the place.
Yes. So they have different commentators in almost every city they go to.
Yeah.
And they fell into the trap when they would do it of saying, right, we need applications for the commentators, must be black belt or above. Really? Okay, answer me this.
Yeah.
Being a black belt, does that make you the best teacher?
No.
Right. Does it mean you can explain jiu-jitsu the best?
No.
Does it mean you can explain jiu-jitsu under duress, with time constraint and all that kind of stuff?
A black belt can often mean nothing more than... That's the thing, like, a black belt's so vague.
Yeah,
it can
exactly.
mean anything. It can mean that you've trained for 20 years and you're in your 60s and you're never going to be able to compete and you're never going to be able to, or it could mean that you are in your mid-20s, you've never taught a class in your life. You don't know how to teach. You trained jiu-jitsu since you were 4 years old and you're an absolute savage in competition.
Yeah.
And everything in between.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? It's like... I think one of the things that helped me with commentary is I started teaching classes from literally like when I got my blue belt, which was like 1 year into doing jiu-jitsu. And that makes a massive difference to a black belt who's been a student up to black belt the entire time. They don't really even taught that many classes.
There are black belts that are still students.
Yeah,
black belts.
Well, actually,
purely competitors.
That's the biggest difference I've noticed going to the US now is there are more of those because it used to be, particularly in this country, like someone got a black belt, they were probably going to open.
If you're a brown belt, you were an instructor.
Yeah, well, that's it. And if they got a black belt, they were probably going to open an academy, right? Whereas now it's like even my gym, we have 4 or 5 guys who are black belts who are just pure students. They've never taught classes. They are just students for 10 years.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of glad that I was fortunate enough to go through the...
You're brown belt now?
Brown belt, 4 stripes now.
Okay.
So I know it's happening soon.
So soon you'll be able to commentate on Fight to Win.
Well, that's it soon, yeah. But my point is, like, I was a blue belt when I started commentating, MMA and stuff. And MMA, I think, jiu-jitsu I can sort of understand. Jiu-jitsu with the gi, I can understand why you would need a wider technique repertoire for sure. But the reality is the range of jiu-jitsu employed in mixed martial arts is not that expansive.
No.
Right? I have not got to know how I'm going to berimbolo up into a leg drag or something like that. Because it's just not going to happen. But that being said, I was listening to one guy the other day who replaced me on a show and... replaced me because I moved away, not replaced me because I was crap. And they said, it was something along the lines of, and he scores the reversal up into knee on belly. Well, it wasn't. It was a sweep up into combat base inside a guard.
Wow.
And I'm just like, reversal's different to a sweep.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm like, yeah, well, it's not going to matter. But, I'm just like, I would have said that differently.
Yeah.
Did
you find that you're always critiquing people when you listen to commentary?
No.
Really?
No, because I don't pay that much attention.
Really?
Yep. When I watch an event, usually, let's take EBI, for example.
Yeah.
I'll go watch it at a mate's house and we'll get together and we'll have a few drinks and we're chatting amongst ourselves.
You're not even listening to
in
it.
reality, I'm not really listening to you. No. When I do sit down and listen to it, I'm like, you haven't mentioned that and I would have. But again, people have different styles and I can be empathetic to, okay, that's the way they do it.
Yeah.
Do I think it's the best way? Well, obviously not, because it's not how I would do it.
Yeah.
But
so who do you think are the best commentators?
In what, MMA?
Everything.
Everything? I think, I think most of the guys who do UFC stuff are good.
Yeah.
They genuinely are. People used to give like Mike Goldberg shit, but as a play-by-play guy,
great.
He's really good at what he does as a play-by-play guy.
Goldberg and Rogan were a great combo.
Yeah. And you know what? I think John and Dan, who do the UFC in Europe
Dan
now,
Hardy and John Gooden.
Yeah, they hit the ground really well running. I mean, I've always said those two came off really well together, and I listen to it and I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Grappling wise, outside of, I haven't listened to that many because I don't watch that much grappling for entertainment value.
Yeah. Because it's boring.
No, not because it's boring. I don't have time. Like literally, most of it boils down to time.
Yeah.
Sean's the most fun I've had working with grappling.
Yeah.
No disrespect to you and the show we did, but
fuck, I wasn't even thinking that. But yeah.
But yeah, Sean was awesome. We'll see. The most fun I've ever had calling MMA fights was Jens Pulver.
Okay.
Jens Pulver, that dude fucking loves fights.
Really?
Yeah. Oh my god, he's unreal, and he gets so pumped and. Because he's getting so pumped about it, he's completely not thinking about the fact that he's actually doing a broadcast. So it's uninhibited, awesomeness of just enjoy. Yeah, he was sitting there in his seat going, oh, moving and dodging. And, like when Joanna Jędrzejczyk made her kind of more wider set debut, it was on Cage Warriors, right?
Really?
She fought Rosie Sexton on Cage Warriors at...
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the Kentish Town Forum, which is why I knew how to say her name before anyone in the UFC was like, how do we say it? I'm like, Jędrzejczyk, because I asked her like a month ago.
Yeah.
But as soon as that first punch landed, Jens Pulver just turns to me and goes, "Ooh, this is done." It's like, get that girl in the UFC, this is done. Really? And I'm like, oh shit, you saw that straight away?
Wow.
And then, the rest is history.
Became one of the greatest ever, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's great female fighter. Yeah. Female divisions are thinner. I mean, let's not beat around the bush about that. I don't... There's political correctness that gets lost there, but female divisions are generally thinner than males divisions. Of course. So it takes less to get up there.
Well, they've got a smaller pool to pick from, right?
Of course they have at the moment, and I don't think it's wrong to say that.
And they always will, I think.
Yes. Oh, yeah. How many normal people want to get punched in the face?
Yeah.
I certainly don't.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah. You're not going to do any combat jiu-jitsu, Dan?
I might do.
Do you like combat jiu-jitsu?
Interesting question.
Okay, let me try this. What do you hate about combat jiu-jitsu?
I do like the idea of slapping someone.
Just straight on the nose.
I do like. Can you backhand in combat jiu-jitsu? I don't think so.
I don't see why you wouldn't be allowed to.
That's like.
Oh no, it's open palm actually, isn't it? It's open palm is I think the wording.
It's interesting. I heard that Eddie was thinking about turning the whole of EBI to combat jiu-jitsu, and he had to get talked out of it.
So I have heard on the grapevine that there's not going to be another men's EBI for quite a while.
Yeah,
because they have women's and combat stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's true.
That's a strange decision to make.
I wasn't sure about it. I quite enjoy it.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, why not? Jiu-jitsu? Yeah, why not?
It's different. It's just halfway between.
Yeah,
MMA
exactly. And I get embroiled in this. I've given up caring, particularly when somebody, because I use the word fight and match interchangeably, and you've come up against this, right?
Yes.
And I think you've asked. I'm pretty certain you've asked other guests like Dosky and that stuff what they think about it, but they're all fights. I don't care.
Yeah.
I've
got into the habit of leaning on the side of calling them matches,
which I do generally.
But I agree there's a fight.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I call them, generally speaking, I will say matches, and when it's sorry, bloody mic. And
don't blame my mic.
Sorry. Bloody me. And and when it's MMA, I will say fight.
Yeah.
But if you really wanted me to give a distinction, I don't give a fuck. They're all fights. You're trying to take someone's limb off. Like
my favorite thing that just ends it. I think Gary Tonin posted it actually. It was if grappling isn't a fight, then your MMA fight isn't a war.
Yeah. I mean, look, they're all a rule set, right? Things would be different with no rules.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I've always come to the conclusion that if you're doing a discipline where your objective is to cause physical damage to the other human being, then you're in some form of fight.
It's combat. Any combat is a fight.
Yeah.
MMA fighters get so funny about that, man.
They really do, though. They really do.
They're
some of them
so passionate.
Some of them don't give a shit. Obviously,
I personally, I think they're super arrogant about they're super arrogant about the fact that they do the full fighting, whereas grapplers just do the grappling.
Yeah, and I'm not going to lie, I've had
there's no doubt that it's a fucking thousand. It is more of a fight. I'm not doubting that. But that doesn't mean that two people trying to choke each other unconscious
is not a fight. I mean, if that's not a fight, boxing's not a fight.
I agree.
One of the things I've always enjoyed, like a big bonus of the shows that I get to do, is that I get to roll with a lot of people.
Really?
I get to roll with a lot of people in a lot of different countries and a lot of different places. And generally, the upshot of that is anywhere I go in the world, I can walk into a gym and they'll be nice to me. Right? I mean, they're nice to jiu-jitsu people anyway. And I don't usually say, oh, hey, I'm a commentator who does this. But like most of the time, somebody's like, where do I know you from? And, because usually there's at least one person at a gym who's seen Polaris or Kasai or something like that.
Do you go with the commentary? Do you have a different commentating voice?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Big time.
We're here in a bit.
Well, yeah. Think of something you want me to say.
I will. I'll have you introduce the podcast.
Yeah. It's totally different. But I think, I do think that my accent, or my lack of accent, is something that got me a bigger foot in the door with bigger promotions.
Well, you have a lack of accent for a British person.
That's my point.
But in America, right. Well, I guess you don't do that much stuff in America, do you?
No, just this one. But I mean, the one show I do is
Kasai,
pretty big.
One, yeah.
But yeah, so it used to be the range of people who would do commentary in the UK had very heavy accents, whether it be London or whether it be Northern or whatever.
You're pretty clear to understand.
Yeah, John and I were the first two people really to come along with Queen's English accents.
Yeah.
Which is, I was lucky. I went to an English boarding school, in the countryside kind of thing. So that's how I was raised. And I think that has definitely helped. And then the accent goes pretty decently in America.
Oh yeah,
like there's they
love it.
They do generally like it. Yeah, it generally just think things sound better. It gets bloody annoying though, seriously, because like I'll go into bits of Philadelphia, which is where I live.
Yeah,
and there will be people I interact with who have genuinely never heard an English person in real life.
Crazy.
Yeah, and they will always ask me to say something.
Yeah.
So I have a preset line that I say to them now.
What'd you say?
Harry Potter must not go back to Hogwarts. It's legit what I say every time they ask me.
I went on like I was on holiday when I was in my teens, and people just started coming up. Like I was in just this complex, and everyone heard that there was this English family. It was fucking awesome. I felt like a fucking rock star because these kids would just come up to me, and ask me to say Harry Potter.
Ha!
Like Harry Potter.
And Harry Potter is the example that they use.
They always use it.
Yeah. It's just hilarious because I went to a school that was literally like straight out of Harry Potter. So yeah, but it's just funny. But the accent goes over well for the most part. And people in my gym have started picking up like English colloquialisms, which is great.
Oh really?
I've got a few of them saying wanker.
Yeah, they don't say wanker brilliant. Over there.
Yeah, wanker, mate. I'll occasionally put up little posts where I'm like, oh man, moved into the house, everybody's cream crackered. Yeah. And they'll just be like, what is this? This is amazing. I miss your Englishness. So it's fun, but it goes down well. Yeah.
Nice. Awesome, man. I need you to, we've done just under 2 hours, man.
Wow.
Yeah, it goes fucking fast though.
I know, right?
Time flies when you're having fun. Yeah, let's have you. Actually, we'll do it now. You can introduce the podcast.
Oh, blimey! See, now this is hard because you're asking me to ad lib as well as just put my commentary voice on.
I was gonna say no, but yeah.
No, what do you want? Well. What do you want me to say?
I don't know, man. Just introduce.
Well, what content do you want in your introduction, Daniel?
Just like welcome to Raspberry Podcast.
Okay, let me say that. Where is the studio? Where are we?
We're in Edgware, North London.
Edgware, North London. Okay. Let's see. So, welcome to the Raspberry Ape podcast live from Dan Strauss Studios in Edgware, North London. It's time for Josh Palmer and the Raspberry Ape.
Yes.
So do you see what I mean? There's a certain projection that you have to you just kind of put on.
So where do you develop that?
You don't. You just do it.
So when I was commentating with Cyrus,
yep,
he has a really distinctive voice. Have you ever heard him announce or commentate?
Yeah, he's done one show that
He's really distinctive. But when you talk to him, nothing like that.
Yeah, sure.
If you listen to like a Bruce Buffer or something like that, they obviously when they commentate, they have this incredible voice. But when you talk to him in person, completely normal guy.
Yeah,
and that's what you expect Bruce Buffer to be Bruce Buffer the entire time.
Nope. Yeah, it's I don't really know where there's it's not something I practice. It's not anything. It's just something that you do.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, though. I will be honest. You need to have some sort of projection, but it's like, I don't know who I based it on when I started doing it. Did I look at the cadence that Mike Goldberg was using and I think I probably did originally, something like that. And go, look, this is the kind of tempo, and certainly with the content, the openings to pieces to camera, which is the only time you tend to be doing that kind of projection voice.
Yeah.
They're fairly formulaic, right? So typically, we'll do scene setting shots of whatever the venue and outside and the crowd.
Man, we were pissing ourselves. I have to say this for the Polaris thing.
Why? What did they use? I couldn't see it.
All videos from outside, and it's dark,
right?
And it was fully light.
Oh,
they were obviously filmed beforehand.
Yeah,
I just thought it was the funniest thing.
What would have been funny was the Muppets show was on at the main O2 Arena while we were there, so it would have been funny if there were Muppets walking around. But yeah, they're fairly formulaic, right? You set the scene with some shots. You do like a 15-20 second intro over the top. So like Kasai always use something along the lines of like, the fire is rising here in New York City as 8 of the world's best grapplers will take the stage in 2 round-robin brackets to decide your first ever Kasai welterweight tournament champion.
Such a pro.
Do you see what I mean? There's
Such
a certain
pro. Yeah.
But you're like, right, how many people are taking part? What's the format? Is this third or second or fourth event or whatever?
Yeah.
And it's fairly formulaic, and then you'll always do this bit where there's a card rundown where they'll put up a graphic that has the card on.
Sure. And
you'll blitz through some information, and it sounds awesome, but it's something that bit you've completely pre-written beforehand, and I'm reading off my iPad. But I know when I'm out of shot, I get a signal behind the camera that says you're out of shot.
You can look down and start reading.
And I look down and start reading. So it's just linking the two together and then knowing when I get to the last line, I need to look back up before they fade me out a shot. But again, that's something that just, the more you work with any given production crew, the more they learn your kind of, routine, etc.
You get a relationship built.
Absolutely, like anything. And that's ultimately the best part about doing this, is you get to go and hang out with the same crew every time and the same group of people. The Friday nights before, the time after, the Friday night before shows is usually a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You look at Polaris last weekend, all the guys from Scramble, all the guys from Tatami, we got together, we had a roll, one of the gyms nearby, and then we went and had a bite to eat, and we had a good laugh, and then we got up and we put on a wicked show the next day.
Nice.
That's the main reason. Like the camaraderie you get doing it is pretty awesome. So yeah, I wouldn't really trade it. I'm very, very lucky. I know I'm lucky. I'm like, I was just a fat guy who started doing jiu-jitsu and then managed to somehow parlay it into all of that.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, when I think about it, it's like I've done almost everything in jiu-jitsu and MMA in one form or another. Like I refereed a lot of jiu-jitsu before. Well, I mean, I got to referee a couple of black belt matches when I was a blue belt.
Yeah,
which was freaky.
Intimidating.
Really? Yeah. Like Nick Gregoriadis when he fought Claudio Silva.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like
match.
And there's like, there's hundreds of people around and there's black belts all around. And it's funny when you think about it now, because like Ollie Geddes was there reffing. It's like, well, now you'd be like, Ollie, do it. But stuff like that, so I got to referee a lot, which was awesome. And then we ran Go to the Ground, which you came and smashed everybody up on the first show. And we ran
I weighed in at 72 kilos.
That's it. Yeah, mini Dan.
Yeah.
And I think I've still got the footage of you doing that Kimura sweep somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we ran 5 of those shows, and they all went pretty well. And then I judged MMA and commentated MMA, and I have MC'd. I didn't particularly enjoy it. And I've competed a bit myself, and I just feel like I've somehow
you've done every single thing that you could possibly
managed
do
to dip my toes into most of it.
And like, even you said like you helped run a clothing brand, jiu-jitsu clothing as well.
Yeah, I mean, I basically am the US arm of Valor Fightwear.
Okay. So like even involved in that part.
Who of course sponsor Kleos.
Yeah, they do. They do sponsor Kleos.
So yeah, I kind of like the only thing. I mean, I've never run an MMA promotion. I have no desire to, because more power to you if you can take that burden on. And I've never refereed MMA. Okay. I came very close to doing it at one point, and I feel like I could. I don't think it's refereed enough jiu-jitsu. So yeah. And of course, I had a podcast for a bit as well.
Yeah.
And, it's like I feel like I've dipped my toes in most of it. And
that's kind of crazy now you think about it. You've done it all. I
was actually pretty happy about it when I sit there and think it back. It's been a fun 11 years. And it's just weird now because I think we all forget what it was like 11 years ago.
Yeah, people didn't realize.
And like I can say that now, but like there are other guys who'll be like, well, you had no idea what it was like 15 years ago. Yeah, and you're right, and I did it. It's like you had one of your previous guests, Lee Dosky, was he gave me my brown belt, and he was my best man at my wedding. And truth be told, I steal most of my cool explanations about jiu-jitsu off Lee. Yeah. In case you haven't noticed, he's really articulate in the way he does it. So between him and Nathan Leviton, I've stolen a lot of the little ways I word things. Sure. But I've totally lost my train of thought now. What was I saying?
We're talking like
10 years so ago. Those guys who were like, again, the time period before me and going back even further, I can't imagine what it was like for them. But I'm really glad that I didn't come along and find jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu's done an immense amount for me. Like my life's unbelievably different from what it was, apart from being 10 stone lighter.
That's something that we haven't even really touched on, but like a huge part of your journey early on was the fact
was the weight loss thing.
That you lost how many kilos?
Well, I lost 10 stone, so 140 pounds. So
60 kilos?
60 kilos, something like that.
Which is crazy.
It's nuts, right? I mean, that's why I have a tattoo on my back that it's been copied well over a dozen times now.
Jiu-jitsu saved my life.
Right? Yeah. So aside from that,
Hello, we haven't even touched.
Oh,
on
we'll do that another time, man.
Yeah.
That one go, because that's one of the things where I think people warmed up to me a little bit on a wider scale.
Because you were blogging it, or
I wrote a blog piece about it. It was like 10,000 words or something. But I was super honest. I was really super honest that this is fucking hard, and and I wasn't feeling good about this, and I was very upset and emotional about this, and there are some other stories we can do another time. Like, I've done some stupid shit in the name of losing weight. Like, I've got friends who've been on like gear for a decade, and they wouldn't have done some of the stuff that I tried.
Yeah,
like just do that another time. But yeah, I was always very honest about it. And when I sat back and I thought about it, I was like, you know what? I'm really, really glad that I got into jiu-jitsu when I did, and I don't think I would have got the opportunities that I did, or had it been as transformative if I'd come into a finished product gym like many of us have now.
Yeah.
Where you've got 6,000 square foot of mat space, and you've got 4 classes a day, and you haven't got to drive to that broken down barn with concrete frozen covered mats in the middle of nowhere just to do an extra session.
Yeah, like,
I'm
not saying that, we lived in a fucking third world country.
No, we don't. But
there was a different kind of struggle. There
just wasn't the density.
It was different. And, you listen to any of the stories, and like you said, I've been doing jiu-jitsu for 13 years now, but there's people who've been doing it 10 years longer than me in the UK. And it is different.
Yeah.
It was like you'd have the travel, you'd have the, there'd be 4 competitions a year, not 4 competitions a month.
Yeah.
It was different. And
when a seminar comes to the town, you're like, oh, wow, gotta go travel to this. Now I'm like, there's very few people I could be bothered to go and actually travel to go to a seminar with now. Yeah. I think people are spoiled, but I think it's great.
Yeah. It's nice for them.
It would just be interesting to see the different sort of people. I mean, my current professor, Stephen Bongiorno at South Jersey BJJ, which is where I train at the moment in New Jersey. He's amazing, but he's always, when he got his black belt from Ricardo Almeida, he's always said, Ricardo said to him, he said, why did I get a black belt? And Ricardo's like, you survived.
Yeah.
Like, you're not supposed to survive. And I wonder if you took the people who start jiu-jitsu now and started 10, 15 years ago... Would
they survive?
Would they get us into it? I don't know. Would they? I mean, or maybe we're just romanticising the fact that we've been doing this a long time and it's a shitload of fun.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of glad that there were those times where it's like, right, I haven't got to just drive 5 minutes down the road to do a class every day, and you do have to travel a bit more, and if you want to go to this competition, it is 2.5 hours away in Birmingham.
Yeah, you got to get up at 5 a.m, go there.
Yeah, so, it's like, whereas now where I live, that, we were mentioning this before the recording started, but the density of jiu-jitsu is insane. Like, there's half a dozen schools within 15 minutes drive of my house.
Crazy.
All of them are pretty good. Ours are the best, but and then Fight to Win is rolling through tomorrow night, right? If I wasn't doing Cage Warriors, we got 4 guys fighting on Fight to Win, in Philadelphia, and then like the next week they're an hour the other way in Jersey, or there's a show on every single weekend, and there's gyms every single weekend, and there's open mats every single weekend, and it's awesome, man. It's great. I think the UK's got a little bit of catching up to do still.
Oh yeah,
still for sure.
Always. I think they say like we're at least 5 years behind, maybe 5-10 years. I
suppose so. I mean, I haven't been in the US for 5 years yet, so who knows?
You don't know.
But I think we'll get there. I think shows like Polaris and Cage Warriors are definitely helping. So see where we land.
Awesome, man. Let's wrap it.
Cheers, buddy.
That was wicked, man. Really enjoyed that.
Yeah, thank
you.
Good
to catch you.
Yeah,
got the timing just right.
That's it. I'll see you next time.
Awesome, brother. Catch you soon. Take it easy. Okay, guys, that is it. I hope you enjoyed the episode. As usual, if you want to contact the podcast, you can email me at podcast@raspberryape.com. You can find me on Twitter or Instagram at raspberry_ape. Check out my website, raspberryape.com, or find some videos of this podcast and other podcasts and other videos in general at youtube.com/raspberryape. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I will catch you next time. Take it easy.